Oh, wow. Okay, right. Jesus. Okay, we've got hundreds of you already in the waiting room, which is good news. That means you were paying attention in the WhatsApp group when I told you to join ahead of time. So always good to see people here on time. It's always a good start. Right, we'll give people a minute to roll on in as well. Let me get the chat open and start seeing who we already have here. Right, let me get my screen up as well. Wonderful. Right, so kudos to the first person who can continue to share this PowerPoint window. Continue to share. There we go. Kudos to the first person who can tell me that they can see me, hear me, and see my screen okay. Thank you, Penny. Brownie points to you and everyone else already commenting. Thank you very much. Good to see everyone paying attention as well. This is always nice. Right, let me bring this chat up here. Let's see who we've got coming in. Right, how do I move this bar out of the way? There we go. Attendees. Right, amazing, cool. Right, we're going to get started in just a minute. I'll give it a second because we've still got people rolling in. We've already got hundreds and hundreds of people rolling in. We're hosting this across two platforms as well now because we maxed out the capacity on the other one. So welcome in Susan, Rena, Agatha, Amina, Amy, let's see, Dale, Dan, Denise, another Denise, Esther, Gary, Graham. We've got Kai, we've got Libby, Lydia, amazing. Welcome all in. We are going to, like someone's just asked if we're going to get a recording of this. I'm not guaranteeing that there is going to be one because we have tried to record these in the past and the recording messes around with the connection. And we start getting complaints from people that they can't see and hear us properly. So we're going to try. If it starts causing issues, we're going to cancel the recording. So please do stay with us because if you leave, I can't guarantee that there's going to be one. What I don't want to do is guarantee you that there will be one and then have to let people down. So this could be the only rendition of this event that you're going to see tonight. So please do bear that in mind. Now, let me just check that everything is running okay. I'm sharing my sound as well. So I'm just going to send out the last text as well. Last text reminder for everyone, just to let everyone know that we are live. And then we will get started. Now, just while we've still got more people rolling in. Like I said, we're hosting this across two platforms. We've already got over 300 people on Zoom, and we've got another 400. So we were at over we're just about to cross 800 people across two platforms now, which is insane, absolutely incredible. So I've got a lot of respect for all of you for showing up tonight and doing what most people won't, which is actually take action and do something. So welcome in. Just a bit of housekeeping. It's going to be a big event, so I will be trying to control the chat as much as possible to allow you all to engage and to essentially, there's a lot of reverb, so it's tricky to hear you. Let me know if the sound is okay for everyone else. No one else seems to be complaining, so it might be isolated. Yeah, it might be isolated to you, Liz. Sorry about that. Could be worth just leaving and rejoining. Anyway, it's a bit busy event. So like I said, thank you for everyone for confirming. We'll try and manage the chat as best as possible. I'm going to hit pause on it at certain points in the presentation where I'm going through really important elements of the system that you've signed up to learn about to make sure that you can walk away with the knowledge that you signed up to get, right? And then we'll be reopening it again at certain other points of the presentation just to make sure everything runs really, really smoothly. That said, please, if you have questions, use the Q&A feature. If you can't see the Q&A feature, if you go to your Zoom toolbar, click on the More button, you should see Q&A there. That will be open throughout the whole thing. Please only use that for questions. I will then go through the most frequently asked questions, which my team will be compiling for me in the background as we go through so that I can make sure I'm answering the questions, obviously, that most of you have, which means most of you get the help you're signing up for. Like I said, we got over 2,000 people potentially on this call tonight who have signed up. I was just over 2,200 in the end. I'm not going to be able to get to that many questions, so I'll get to as many as I can, but please do use the Q&A feature and I will answer the most frequently asked questions as we go. All right. Looks like people are still pouring in, but we are going to get started because we're nearly at 5 minutes in already. So welcome in, everyone. First of all, I've been looking forward to this for days since we started posting about it and we started seeing the reaction about it because it's been remarkable, to be quite frank. I'm really excited to have you here, and you should be excited too, because this right here, this is the first day of your journey towards financial peace of mind and a more comfortable and earlier retirement, right? If you want it to be, of course, right? If you take action on what I'm going to teach you and tell you to do today, then it will be. If not, if you don't take action, then things will just stay the same, right? Kind of goes without saying, but the circumstances that you weren't happy about, which led you to want to join this event in the first place, will not improve if you continue to not do something, if you continue to do nothing, right? So please do take some form of action off the back of this. In fact, I added this in last minute, so I hope this goes well. But before we dive in, I wanted to show you just how close you could be to having the financial security, control, and peace of mind that you are looking for. So this is James's story. James attended one of the last events we hosted back in July last year, as you can see from the dates there. At 46 years old, with no retirement plan and no idea how to build one, he thought he was destined to retire into poverty. That was his words, not mine. He watched a similar event to what you're watching right now that I ran, claimed the same gift that you're going to have the opportunity to claim, and then decided actually he just wanted to work directly with me to speed up the process and get a plan in place, really. The next day, he had a brief moment of thinking, have I done the right thing here? And he sent this message to the community, which is absolutely fair enough. But what was really nice for me to see is that he was met with just a bunch of replies, which went even further than this, from people who had already done it, telling him and letting him know just how much it was going to change his life. And within the 6 weeks of joining that event, this 46-year-old who thought he was destined to retire into poverty at 67 had a money management system in place, making him £600 a month better off, 90% of his debt eliminated, a 3-month emergency fund in place, and an investment plan and strategy that will enable him to retire at 61. So from thinking he was going to not be able to retire until at the minimum 67 and probably into poverty, to now knowing that he can retire at 61 with enough to support his lifestyle, the life that he wants to live, right? So you can see it's that much of a game changer, right? Can everyone see James's story on the slide there? Because someone's saying they can only see the welcome page. Hopefully everyone can see James's comments and the responses to him. Perfect, amazing. Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it is working. Thanks for confirming. And by the way, I just wanted to show you quickly what he had to say, because it's good. It's all easy for me to say this, right? People can make things up. I just wanted you to hear from him actually about what he had to say about this, so that you can hear from someone who's actually been sat where you're sitting right now. So here's what he had to say.
When you joined, as with many people are, right, you were skeptical, and you know, and I, as I said to you, right, I encourage people to be skeptical, because there's some crazy people on the internet that will try and steal money from people. Unfortunately, I shouldn't laugh; it's terrible. But you know, and when you joined, you had a moment of like, oh, have I done the right thing? Is this all legit? Like, is this going to work out? So I suppose I wanted to ask that question for you specifically. What would you say to anyone who's maybe like having those thoughts and wonders if this is legit and that kind of thing, like, and is on the fence, but maybe doesn't want to take that leap because they're worried about that kind of risk?
Well, I can only say from my end, it is 100% legitimate. And like you say, when I signed up, but in all honesty, Joe, when I signed up, I pretty much wiped out the one bit of contingency I had, and as I've been telling my girlfriend and my friend and what have you, honestly, I already feel like it's the best money I've ever spent.
Love it. So it was worth it then?
Really worth it.
Amazing. I'm glad to hear it.
So, as you know, today I'm going to be teaching you how to secure your current and future finances, how to build wealth on autopilot and retire ASAP to do what you want with your life, and using the system that I put in place for James and now over 300 other people at this point in time. This is all possible with just 15 minutes of your time per week, okay? And no investing experience required. So first of all, let's see who's paying attention. Drop a yes in the chat if you want to learn how this system works. So make sure you're in the right place. Amazing. Laura, thank you. Jade, Hannah, Kerry, Penny. I'm trying to keep up. There's too many comments coming through. Quasi, Maria, Sam, Lydia, amazing. Yes, I can see you. Amazing. Right, glad to see you all paying attention. I'm going to dive in right now. Okay, thank you all for responding. I'm going to dive in really, really quickly. But just to remind you though, there is going to be a gift for a select few of you who watch until the end of the event tonight, which is worth £600. We've had more registrations than ever before for this event. So I've increased this from the 300 that you saw on the sign up page to now £600. And people in the WhatsApp group already know about this. I'm going to tell you more about it later. But a limited number of you who claim that gift are also going to be offered an exclusive opportunity as well, which is worth over £2,000. So make sure you stay with us if you are, if you really are serious about drastically improving your finances and your future wealth potential, you need to watch this event through to the end. So let's dive in. Right. In this event, in this webinar, I'm going to be teaching you how to truly take control of your finances. I'm going to show you the tools, the processes, and the systems that will enable you to save and invest more, become debt-free faster than you ever expected, and how to set yourself up for a more comfortable and earlier retirement than you ever thought possible. But who am I and why am I teaching you this? Is what you're probably asking. Who are you and why are you teaching me this, right? It's a fair question to ask. So let me answer those questions. On the who am I question, simply put, I am a husband and a father who really just wanted more for me and my family. And about 6-7 years ago now, decided enough was enough. I started doing what I could to secure our finances, pay off the debt that we had, and figure out how to build some kind of wealth and financial freedom for mainly our future, but also once our daughter came along, my daughter's future as well. And what I did is I just began documenting my journey and my findings and what I was learning along the way on social media. And that interest became a hobby. The hobby became an absolute obsession because it improved our lives. It made us wealthier. It got us out of debt, and so on and so forth. And that obsession has now become a business, which now has over 150,000 followers across multiple platforms, all of which you can see there, which I now use to transform other people's lives. So like I said, we've had over 300 people. I think we're at about 313 people when I checked at the end of the week just gone, who have come through my one-on-one coaching program. And 100% of them are now better off. They are better off, they are more financially secure and set up for a more comfortable and earlier retirement than they previously thought was possible for them, having completed the program. Okay, so why am I teaching you how to secure your own finances and build a financially secure future? The answer to that is also really, really simple. It's because really, I feel like I've been where many of you are right now, right? With the same, maybe not in the exact financial circumstances, but definitely with the same financial concerns, stresses, and anxieties that you have, and the same kind of like goals and desires for your future and your family's financial security. But like you, not having a clue about what to do, where to begin, or maybe just how to get yourself out of the hole you feel like you're starting from. It's not applicable for everyone, but a lot of people do feel that way. Now, I'm very glad to report that I figured it out. Okay, I've escaped my 9-to-5 at the age of 32. I'm on track to hit millionaire status at 37. My wife is completely retired now at the age of 33, and we will both reach complete financial independence and be completely work optional at 42. And the thing is I'm nothing extraordinary. Right, these results are, but I came from very, very non-extraordinary beginnings, right? So I know for a fact that all of you can drastically improve your current circumstances and your future prospects by taking action on what I'll be telling you to do today. In short, in a nutshell, I'm stood here teaching you this system today because this is everything I wish I had at the start of my journey, but didn't have myself, right, until now. Talking of starting though, that's another really good question. Where the hell do you actually start, right? It's really hard to know. And unfortunately, this is where like 99% of people fail by simply just not getting started at all because they feel stuck. And that was my exact issue. So tell me, don't put a yes in the chat just yet, but if any of this sounds familiar to you, put a yes in the chat. I knew I needed to do something, so I was following different social media accounts and watching YouTube videos on money and investing every day. But all I got from this, and I mean, I was like, watching YouTube videos on the way to work, listening to podcasts on the way to work, watching YouTube videos on my lunch break, listening to podcasts on the way home. But all I got from this was a bombardment of information every day, getting 20 different and often conflicting opinions on what you should be doing with your money, which ultimately means you end up doing nothing because you're scared of doing the wrong thing for you, and it's sending you further behind than you already are. It's analysis paralysis. I see so many people saying, yes, absolutely, for sure, definitely me. Absolutely, yes, sorry, I am late. No worries. That was from Vicky. No worries, Vicky. But yes, do you know what? I'm glad that you can relate because it means you're in the right place, and it also means that that's about to end. But I'm also not glad because I know that it sucks. It's a horrible position to be in when you feel like there's just all of this information and you don't know how to apply it to you and your circumstances. I've been there, and like I said, fortunately, that is about to come to an end for you, which is really, really good. But ultimately, the position you're in is analysis paralysis. This bombardment of information, not really sure what to do, scared of doing the wrong thing. And I've been there. I think what I realized is like the like magic pill or kind of like secret formula that I was looking for by watching and listening to all this stuff, this secret formula that would, you know, miraculously fix my specific problems and show me what I needed to do, just never fell in my lap. And fortunately, I realized very early on that this kind of magic formula simply didn't exist yet. And that if I wanted it, I had to create it for myself. But doing so took me 2 years, 16 books, 180 hours of YouTube videos and tutorials, 122 podcast episodes. I know because I've got the playlists of these still, and over £7,000 in courses and mentors for me to be able to understand just the simple rules, processes, and systems I was going to implement financially, the different investing and tax strategies that I could take advantage of, and just to build the tools that I needed, right? And I think that was just to be able to get started, right? It's taken me another 7 years of trial and error and blood, sweat. I mean, literally tears, not even metaphorically tears, and also just non-stop application to get this system and these tools to where they are today. And that's something I really want to emphasize here. Is like, this isn't something I did once many years ago that might not be relevant anymore. And I have not come from money. I can assure you of that, right? Like a lot of people you see on social media who are like ex-investment bankers are now trying to tell normal people what they should be doing with their money as if they can relate, right? I haven't come from money, far from it. I've never worked in some kind of six-figure job at an out-of-touch money management institution before. This stuff that I'm teaching you tonight, this is the stuff that worked for me, right? Got me to where I am, still works for me now, and is also working for the 300 plus other people who are applying this system as we speak. I suppose what I'm trying to say is like, I'm in the trenches with you all now, still implementing this stuff and still using and improving this system and these tools that I'm showing you today so that you can continue to benefit from them. What I've done really is I've taken the process that I ended up following. I've eliminated the guesswork, the costly mistakes, and the setbacks that I had to endure along the way. And I've combined this with my now 9 years of knowledge and experience applying this with over 300 people. And I've created a simple, structured system that you can take advantage of today on day one of your journey, right? You can just pick up and go if you take action, right? Comes back to my original point. Now, before I tell you exactly how it works, I want you to know what kind of results you can expect to get when you actually implement it, just so you know it's actually going to be worth your time listening to this. Because if I show you the whole system and then the results aren't that great, you'll probably feel a little bit hard done by. So these are the average. These aren't outliers. These are the average student results of those who've implemented the system that I'm going to be teaching you in just a second. Okay, the average student is saving an extra £1,700 a month. So what versus the previous 3 months cash flow, right, of them working with us to now, there is a £1,700 a month improvement on average. We are helping them avoid over £23,000 in interest on their debts. They are becoming debt-free 10 years faster on average. They are set to retire 18 years earlier. And the big one, they are avoiding on average per person £468,000 in investment and advisor fees by using the system and strategy I teach them and showing them how to avoid this stuff, instead of working with a traditional advisor and platform charging a combined 1.5% management fee. I've got some maths later on for you. You'll be very excited to know, laid out a bit more interestingly than typical math, which breaks this down in more detail. But I mean, as you can see from those average results, ultimately what this system does is it puts more money in your pocket today and in the future, right? And the thing is all of the people who achieved those results, all of those people started from similar circumstances to you and I, because they are all people who have attended the event, one of these events that I run. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, I've been where many of you are myself, and if I haven't, I've helped someone who is in a similar set of circumstances to you. I can assure you of that. And this system has made all of these people better off than they were previously in some way, shape, or form, and normally by a significant degree, right? Those on a low income but unsure how to build any kind of wealth, those on a good income but feeling like they have absolutely nothing to show for it in terms of financial success, well-being, and confidence in their future, those who feel stuck in a cycle of debts with no idea how to escape them, and those who have no plan for their future, who just want an alternative to the prospect of working until they are in their 70s or older, right? And that is a harsh reality of today's world. The fastest growing age group in the UK population right now, the fastest growing age group in the workforce in the UK right now, is those aged 65 to 75, because people are getting to that point in life and realizing they didn't do enough to secure any kind of retirement. So take that and do with it what you will. Like, ultimately, whether they were starting in their 20s or their 60s, which is literally the actual age range of our students, actually 20 up to 67 now, all of them are now set to be able to retire earlier than they thought possible, with more income in retirement than they thought they'd be able to have by using this system. And on that final point, actually, about facing the prospect of working until you're 70 plus, right? I can relate to that because that's actually what initially kickstarted this whole journey for me. I received a letter from my workplace pension provider when I was 24, telling me that I would have to work until I was 82, right? If I wanted a modest 20K a year income in retirement, right? Which, if it's not a poverty income now, definitely would be by then. Now, obviously, when I saw this, I thought what any normal person would think, right? So I swore quite a few times. And then I thought, how is this possible? I need to talk to an expert, because I wasn't one at the time. So I had a chat with a pension advisor at my workplace, and what he told me, it really just confirmed that I had absolutely no chance of retiring early or having the life in the future I wanted if I just blindly followed the path that, you know, the system wanted me to follow, especially if I depended at all on advisors to help me or the government to support me, right? Those people are generally not on your side. And this is sadly what 99% of people are doing, right? Through no fault of your own, by the way. It's simply because we are not educated ourselves on how to properly manage our finances, avoid bad debts, and plan for and achieve retirement goals, right? Which is criminal. I mean, at the very least, they could educate us on how to manage the pensions that we were all given when we joined the workforce, right? Just to make sure those are optimized. But they don't even teach us how to do that, right? It is absolutely criminal, if you ask me. But unfortunately, what I've come to realize is the bottom line is the knowledge, the structure, and tools you need to achieve your full financial potential are not readily available for free. And because of this, most people make a mess of their finances and get stuck working into later life, full of anxiety and the fear of retiring into poverty, or some kind of, just like we saw with James, or some small financial blip leading to financial hardship. The solution that was offered to me by the advisor at work was just save more, right? He wanted me to work up to a 20% pension contribution within the next 5 years. So from 25 to 29, which at the time for me was impossible. Essentially, I was making 24K a year, renting a flat with my then girlfriend, who's now my wife. And we wanted to do all the things that a young couple want to do, right? We wanted to save for our own house. We wanted to get engaged and married and start a family, which, if you've done any of those things, you will know are like all of the most expensive things you ever do in your life. So how the hell was I supposed to sacrifice 20% of my already very small salary, right? And find all of this extra money to save? I had two options as I saw it. And this will come up for you, okay? This is a recurring theme. My two choices Number one, we don't like. I could keep doing what I was doing. I could bury my head in the sand and just think, well, this is just the way it is. I'll continue living paycheck to paycheck and accrue more and more debt for the things that society tells me I need, whilst I try to cobble together the money for a house and a family, only to retire when I'm maybe 82, if I make it that far. By the way, life expectancy for males in the UK right now, 79 on average. So it wasn't looking too good for me. That was option one. Option two, much better. I could invest my time and the little money I did have into learning how to manage and invest my money the right way with proven principles and time-tested methods, with the goal of escaping my 9 to 5 and setting myself up to retire ASAP, right? The outcome from taking option two and investing in myself and my future is I've now wiped 42 years off of my retirement age, taking it from 82 down to 40, right? I've escaped my 9 to 5 already at the age of 32. And the comparatively small, tiny amount that I invested comparatively, right, to learn how to do this has already paid for itself hundreds, if not thousands of times over already. And man, am I glad I invested in myself when I had the chance to do so, because now I have control of my time, of my money, and my future, right? I have certainty, I have clarity, and above all else, something you really can't put a price on is just confidence about where I'm actually headed in life and what my future looks like. And this is exactly what you will have when you implement the same system. All you need is an income and the desire for a better future. And the reason I know that is because that is all Travis had when he found me. I'm going to show you a story here. The reason for this, I wanted to preface the system that I'm going to run it through with you with a couple of people who have actually done it. Again, so you can hear from someone other than me about the system. And just in case you relate, and maybe not to their exact circumstances, but to how they were feeling before versus how they're feeling now. Because I think that's really important. Travis found me early 30s, wanting to make sure that he didn't have to work into his late 60s like he saw his parents doing as their health was declining. And he's now going to have the option to stop working when he's 48 if he wants to, with the 6 figures of passive income we're helping him to generate.
Cool. So
is what you had to say
when
about
it came to obviously wanting to retire early and stuff like that and becoming financially free, did you have any kind of like certainty over when you might be able to make that happen before you joined?
Not even a little bit. I had no idea. I had hoped, I guess that would be the best word for it. I had hoped it would be around what we were talking about. I think I even said like 55 originally, just kind of trying to overshoot that number, not trying to undershoot it too much. But yeah, I mean, I had no idea. I mean, I hope to retire next week, but obviously that's a little, that's a little egregious, So, I mean, I was trying to be realistic with it, but yeah, I had no idea when I was going to retire. So it's awesome to see, what it even looks like right now.
Yeah, no, amazing. So yeah, what about now? Do you feel confident that you're like gonna like not only be able to retire early, but also like be confident that you're gonna have enough money to retire?
Oh yeah. And I definitely think based off, what we talked about too, I'm going to be able to potentially even shave that number down, depending on the second income as well. So yeah, it all might look even better, when I go through that stuff. So
one of the last things I want to ask is, what would you say to someone right now who's like in a similar kind of position and is like on the fence about joining?
I would say, don't wait. There's no reason to wait. I mean, you're just going to be kicking yourself down the road if you do.
And then we have Jade, who says a lot of important words in this, which I think are really, really important to hear, but mainly that she now feels empowered, knowing that she has a plan in place to be work optional at 44. Right? Imagine how good that must feel. Here's what she had to say about that.
What you wanted when you joined was that just kind of general better money management, like you touched on, to feel that kind of confidence that you mentioned, so that you could feel confident about the future and potentially expanding your family. And then ultimately the big one is that retiring ASAP. And for you, it was you wanted to retire in your 40s, and that you seemed pretty like dead set on that. And now I'm really glad to report we have all of those things, right? And so, we've put a monthly money management process in place that's brought you kind of like back into the green each month by quite a decent amount as well. We've got a detailed and optimized plan now that's going to enable you to purchase that property that you wanted. and you've got a plan in place that's going to enable you to retire by at least 44. And I think that's like worst case. I think we're gonna do better than that. So with that said, how do you feel about things now?
I feel really good. I definitely left feeling extremely empowered, and that is not how I was feeling before. I was probably feeling the opposite of that. So just like having a plan, I would say is pretty priceless, and like feeling like when my job annoys me, kind of just knowing that, the retirement is like not too long in the future if I stick to this plan is a really good feeling.
And then how have you found like the overall process and like the tools and the course?
Yeah, I love the fact that it kind of just walks you through exactly what to do. That like pre-work that you had us do and like the way you had us lay it all out was a really good exercise to do. I also just find like I've been going through some of the course like at my leisure and like listening to the reportings and just find it super interesting. I find myself taking notes and just things to remember for just overall financial health. So I'm finding it really, really awesome. Definitely worth the value for me.
That's awesome. I'm so glad to hear that. So in that case, then what would you say to anyone who's like maybe thought about joining or who comes across this video and is maybe on the fence and considering joining the program, but maybe hasn't taken that leap yet?
I would say definitely join. It's 100% worth it for just the peace of mind of knowing like, even if it's never too late, if you haven't started your financial plan, just knowing what the next steps are and like having that clearly delineated has been awesome. I also just think you really know your stuff, so it's been great to work with you and just feel confident in that plan. So I would say do it.
The bottom line is, as you've heard from these guys, everyone who implements this process will benefit from it. Whether you are young, old, low income, high income, no debt versus lots of debt, you will be better off, more financially secure than you were, and retire years earlier than you otherwise would have, with confidence in your future and hundreds of thousands more, if not more, in the investment accounts that you maybe don't even have yet, or that just simply aren't working as hard as they could be for you right now, right? So who is this training actually for? Let's go through that, just in case you're in the wrong place. If you want a solid plan in place for your current and future finances, you want to learn how to manage and grow your money effectively, if you want to make sure the money you make is going to good use and working as hard as possible for you, as hard if not harder as you work for it, get my words out. If you want to become debt-free faster than you ever thought possible, if you want to invest for your family's future as well as your own, if you want to be able to retire when you choose rather than when the government tells you you can, and preferably as soon as possible, if you want to just be in control of your life and your future, then this training is for you. If you're not interested in those things, or you're looking for some kind of get-rich-quick scheme, then you have probably come to the wrong event tonight, so do feel free to leave. However, if you want an actionable guide that you can use to achieve all of this yourself, then drop a yes in the chat so I can see who is still paying attention, and then we will get right into it. I promise you we are about to jump right in. Philip, Blondie, nice name. Lizzie, yes please, yes, full of exclamation marks, love it, yes. Andy, Sean, Maurice, Christina, Vicky, Michael, I can't even catch up now. Yes, please, Lindsay. I love the manners. Thank you for being so polite. Right, there's always someone at this point who says, get on with it. Lovely. Right, I'm going to dive right in. And I am going to pause the chat because I really, really need you to pay attention now. What we are about to jump into, okay, is the financial freedom framework. This is the unique step-by-step system that eliminates the guesswork from money management and investing and helps you build wealth on autopilot. And when I say unique, I really, really mean that. I have built this from the ground up myself over the last 9 years. All of the tools, all of the steps, and everything you need to do along the way, I have built myself with proven principles and systems taken from elsewhere, which I have then built systems and tools around. You cannot get ChatGPT to do this for you, I can assure you, because we've tried and it doesn't work. So please do pay attention because this stuff works. I'm jumping right in now. So here we go. Phase 1 is the baseline phase. This is where we are going to determine your current state, which is absolutely key. After all, how will you know how to get to where you want to be if you don't already know where you are right now? Right, you need a point A and a point B in order to map the route between those 2 points. And this means facing the uncomfortable truths that most people want to ignore and bury their heads in the sand about. Okay, so this step has to be done. It cannot be skipped. And most people don't make it because they try to skip this step. So in this phase, we're going to determine your current state in detail and face all of those truths that you wanted to ignore up until this point. But I can tell you the pain is temporary, and after that is just relief and success. We're also going to clarify and refine the goals you have to the critical few that will actually move the needle for you, rather than spreading you too thin and making you work on 15 things at once and not seeing any progress with any of them, and then getting tired and bored and resentful of the whole thing and quitting. We're going to focus on the few things that are actually going to move the needle for your wealth the most. Okay, and we're going to put all of our energy into that. We're going to cut out any kind of waste in your current spending habits and ensure that you are prioritizing the expenses and things you do each month that provide you and your family with not only a roof over your head and food in the fridge, but also experiences and happiness and fulfillment, right? There is no point in living on rice and beans just to be able to retire a few years earlier. That is not how it is done. And finally, in this phase, we are going to map out the plan for achieving your short and medium-term goals, such as, I don't know, becoming debt-free, establishing an emergency fund, saving a deposit for a house, that kind of stuff, right? All the stuff that most people are working on, and so on. Now, important here, the order in which you do each of those things that I've just discussed depends entirely on your specific circumstances. And doing those things in the wrong order could cost you more and delay your progress by quite a significant margin. Okay, I've seen people making some drastically bad mistakes because they've interpreted some financial rule from, I don't know, like Martin Lewis in the wrong way, and now they're making just terrible decisions. So you need to make sure you build out the most financially efficient and cost-effective route. And if you're not sure how to do that, the gift I have for you will help with this. Okay, now one thing I want to make really clear here is just how critical this phase is, especially the part around understanding your current state, right? Because, and I say that because you need to know what your monthly expenses are today for 2 key reasons. Firstly, so you know what free cash flow you have to actually achieve your short-term goals, i.e. debt elimination, right? And secondly, to accurately estimate what your desired lifestyle is going to cost when you are financially free or in the retirement phase of your life. Now, we call this your FI number, so your financial independence number. Now, I have a very simple, structured method of ensuring that this is as painless and as accurate as possible when we work through the process with the students in my academy. And it's all using the same tool that I'm going to show you shortly, but with some additional tabs you won't see, right? As you can appreciate, they pay good money to have this broken down in fine detail, to have it made as simple and as easy to accurately calculate as possible. Kind of goes without saying, it also helps to have someone like me who's done it for themselves, and over 300 other people at this point in time to help you ensure that it's not only accurate, but also fully optimized. And that's what they're getting, really, right? Hitting the ground running, immediately collecting all of the low-hanging fruit that most people have no idea even exists until I hand it to them on a plate. And they are just eliminating the guesswork, the costly mistakes, the uncertainty, the fear, and the delays that everyone faces inevitably when they try to do it alone. Now, you need to make a note here, okay? To get a rough idea, and it is a rough idea, of your FI number, so your financial independence number, what you need to do is multiply your current monthly expenses by 12 to get your yearly expenses, and then multiply that number by 25 to get your FI number, okay? Just like you see with the example there on slide. Now that, as I said, is a rough estimate of the amount of money you need to have saved or invested to never have to work again, right? Because the drawdown you take from it using the 4% rule covers your expenses and will continue to grow with exposure to the right passive investments if it is set up and structured correctly. Okay, and it compounds at a rate that is higher than that which you are making withdrawals to ensure that you never run out. Okay, this concept is known as the 4% rule, or the safe SWR, which is the safe withdrawal rate. And this was determined from the Trinity studies conducted by Harvard, which I've taken. It is an overarching principle which then people are meant to apply with, you know, a financial planner and so on and so forth. I've then built a system around it so that I could build my own financial plan for my future, and have built a system now that other people can use that principle in line with their circumstances. Again, the Academy videos would walk you through my proprietary process to make sure the figure you get is accurate. And not only that, it would then show you how to iterate on this calculation as your circumstances change, because they will. And this is so that it stays accurate, right? Allowing you to make just small adjustments over time, rather than not looking at your numbers for 5 years and then having to start from scratch when you can't even remember how to do it because they don't make any sense anymore, right? So we help you avoid all of that. The videos also walk you through how to run withdrawal illustrations as well, and a risk assessment to see how long it would last in different market conditions, again, using my proprietary retirement forecasting and planning tools that you can't get anywhere else, okay? Because I built them and only my clients get them. So the key outcome from phase one is clarity. The outcome from doing all of that initial piece of work is absolute clarity, showing you exactly where you stand today financially and giving you crystal clear goals that you are 110% committed to achieving. You're never going to have felt so laser focused and committed to getting to where you want to be financially until you've done that phase. Phase two is the push phase. Really critical now. This is where we organize your financial life and automate things and put you back in control. In this phase, you're going to learn how to implement, first of all, a zero-based money management system that gives you complete control and visibility over your finances with just 20 to 30 minutes of your time per month, and also helps you build wealth on autopilot, because once it is set up, it is just a rinse and repeat system that you use every single month. And once it's set up, we're then talking 15 to 20 minutes per month. It's such a small commitment to have this level of visibility and clarity of your finances that so few people have. You're also going to set up the automated tracking of your assets, liabilities, and net worth, and begin executing on your short and medium-term goals. In parallel to this, you're then going to build out the investment plan and strategy that you will implement to achieve your specific retirement goals. I've got more on this later. Okay. Now you can see there at the bottom of that slide that this phase is where we set up your pillars of personal finance, okay, which I want to tell you about now. You see, I want to be very transparent here. Most people would leave this kind of thing out, but every good financial roadmap and plan needs to cover all three of these pillars. Otherwise, it will fall apart sooner or later. So I wanted to jump into them, and I'm going to spend a bit of time going through them. So please do pay attention and take note, right? Those three pillars, seemingly simple at first. Those three pillars are tracking your money, saving your money, and investing your money. Now, you might be sat there thinking, well, duh, that doesn't sound too hard, Joe. And you'd be right, but there are layers to this that you might not have comprehended. So this is why I wanted to go into these, because everything I ever teach you about money will come back to one of these three pillars. So it's really, really important you understand this. Pillar number one is all about tracking your income versus your outgoings, which for me and the people in my program is taken care of in this monthly balance sheet, okay? You put in your planned expenses and your income, and you track your actual spend against that plan to make sure you are staying on track. There is very, very little point in setting a plan if you are not going to track your actual spend against that plan, and there is no point in just tracking your spending against no plan. People are either doing one or the other and rarely doing both, and therefore they are missing out on the critical information that they need to make informed decisions to improve their finances going forwards. And this is why they feel like, why am I doing this? It just feels like a waste of time. And that when you're doing both together properly, which I will teach you to do, it's a game changer. So the thing is as well, it only takes, like I said, about 20 to 30 minutes per month, but it gives you complete awareness and control over what's going on with your money, which is really important when you consider that not having control and visibility is the root cause of most people's financial problems and why most people end up in debt. right? And if they get out of debt, it's the number one reason why if they do get out of debt, it's the number one reason why people end up back in debt, is because they aren't using a process like this. So you are also going to track your savings and investments here, any home equity and assets you have here, and your debts in this tab here. And all of that information then feeds into this final tab, which I've gone ahead of there, which automatically calculates your net worth for you. Now, this is powerful because it's like having a monthly report on the health status of your finances, which is something you are desperately missing out on if you don't have it already. Because what it does is it helps you see the long-term impact of your short-term financial decisions, and it encourages you to make decisions that will push this number up rather than down. Right? It's just psychological trickery that makes you wealthier, which is what you want, right? Now, I want to emphasize here, before I move on, that the simple act of tracking just your monthly spending in that first tab alone that I showed you will do wonders for your financial habits, because it will make you more aware of how you spend your money. And by doing this, you will be able to immediately pinpoint bad spending habits and waste and eliminate them, right? I'm not talking about cutting out joy and happiness and fulfillment. I'm talking about freeing up more money from the waste to enable you to do more of those things. Very, very big difference. After all, right, you can't change a bad habit if you don't know you have one. And this is what helps you see them. Now, that's the first pillar. The second pillar has two elements to it, okay? Saving money. And I use that term lightly because you really cannot save your way to wealth, because savings accounts have never kept up with inflation, and you need to earn several hundred times more per year than you need in retirement in order to just keep up if you don't invest. So if you are saving, you're never going to be able to get your money to work hard enough for it to be worth anything worthwhile in the future. Okay. But although I'm saying that, there are two ways to interpret the saving money pillar. Both of them apply that same rule in that you cannot use either to save your way to wealth, but let me explain. The first way to interpret saving money is like reducing your bills, right? So cutting expenses, saving money on your outgoings so that you can free up money for you to save. And the second part is actually the act of saving that spare money in a savings account. Neither one of those things are going to make you wealthy and get you the future that you want. Okay, so starting with the first one of those, so saving money on your outgoings. Although you definitely cannot save your way to wealth because it is a zero-sum game, what I mean by that is you can only cut those expenses so much before all you're left with are your essential bills and a very, very miserable life, right? So that's not the way to do it. That said, it's still, like I said, it's still definitely worth checking through your expenses to make sure that they are rationalized to the things that you actually really value and that you and your family need, right? So it's still a worthwhile exercise to go through them, because everyone's, like I said, everyone's got some waste that they could cut instantly and benefit from as a result, right? Not only would they not suffer from it, they would benefit from it, because like I said, they'd have more money to put to the things that they actually value, that provide them and their family with happiness and fulfillment. So that's kind of the first element of the second pillar. The second element of the second pillar is actually saving money in a savings account. Let me make myself really, really clear here. There are pretty much no justifications for using a savings account versus investing responsibly for the long term. I want to say that again. There are essentially no justifications for using a savings account for your money versus investing responsibly for the long term. If that money doesn't have a very specific job to do, which means you need the cash short term, such as an emergency fund, down payment deposit for a house, or savings for a wedding, right? Those are three examples of why you might want to have money in savings rather than invested, right? Absolutely fair enough. However, in those examples, you need to make sure you are making full use of the best high yield savings accounts you can find to keep inflation at bay. Otherwise, your money is devaluing at about 4 to 6% per year in the UK right now. Okay, so it is wild to me how many people come my way and they've got thousands, tens of thousands, if not more, maybe from inheritance and so on, that is sat in an account earning 1% or less. And we can immediately get it earning 4, 5, 6, sometimes 7% interest without even investing it, just by using better high yield savings accounts that I'm aware of, that for some reason most other people are not. So that alone in itself is a game changer. Okay, so those are the two elements of the saving money pillar. Either way, you cannot save your way to wealth, And like I say, if you've got an emergency fund, down deposit for a house, that kind of thing, then yes, keep that saved and not invested. Otherwise, you need every other penny working as hard as it can for you. Then we have pillar number 3. This is how you get that money working as hard as possible for you. This is investing. This is the sexy bit that everyone wants to jump ahead to and then messes up, right? Investing is the most powerful part of all of this. It goes without saying. However, do not contemplate putting even a penny into the stock market or any other asset for that matter until you have these 3 things. First of all, a solid grip on your monthly finances with a good money management system in place, debt freedom, and an emergency fund. So when I kind of breezed through that first bit in that first phase about the order in which you need to do things, and if you do it wrong, you're going to mess it up for yourself, I'm kind of giving away the gold and the keys to the kingdom here. So please do. I hope you can appreciate me going through this, right? You need a money management system first and foremost. Okay, making big hints here. You need a money management system so that you know how much you are able to invest and have maximized this figure as much as possible before you just start investing random amounts like, oh, I'm going to put X £100 or X £1,000 into the investments every single month. Okay, great. Then what? How do you know if it's enough? So according to the goal that you have, do you have even thought about your goal? Do you know if that's going to get you to where you want to be in the time frame that you want to get there as well, right? How do you know if actually you could invest more? Or maybe you're saying an amount that you can't actually do consistently every month because some months there's other things that come up. Have you got a plan in place for that? And then it just doesn't happen and they don't stay consistent and then it all falls apart, right? Don't do that. Get a money management system, work out what you can do every month, like a system like this, and then you'll do it way more consistently and you will get to where you wanted to get to way faster than you ever thought possible. So that's the first part. You need a money management system first. You also need debt freedom before you start investing because there is 0 point in investing for a 9% potential yearly ROI when you're paying 29% interest on your credit card debt, right? That math is not mathing. Get the credit card debt gone first. And finally, you need an emergency fund so that you are never put in a position where you need to sell off a part or maybe even all of your portfolio to cover an unexpected emergency, because doing so will put your compounding in reverse and completely throw you off course from achieving your goals. Okay. Anyone who tells you otherwise does not have your best interests at heart. And they are telling you probably to invest before having those things in place because it benefits them more than it will benefit you. Okay. So be very mindful of anyone who's telling you to do that. Once you do have these pillars in place though, then you can determine your investing strategy. And this will depend on your goals, your risk tolerance, and your time horizon. And that is why everyone I work with one-on-one gets an investment plan and strategy built and tailored to them and their circumstances, along with what I think is even more important, or at least as important, along with the education you need to give you the confidence you need to actually implement that investment plan and strategy, because there is no one size fits all when it comes to investing, unfortunately. So because of that, you need to know how to not only build a portfolio for yourself, but also select a buying strategy that's suitable for you, right? Some of the things a lot of people don't think about. You also need to know how to rebalance as well, which I'll get to later. Now, if you're unsure how to do also any of 3 of those things, I'm going to give you the opportunity to equip yourself with that knowledge later with your gift. For now, I want you to ask yourself, do you have money sitting in an account right now, not invested, doing nothing and earning naff all interest because you don't know how to invest it in line with your goals, or maybe you're scared of doing the wrong thing, right? Or money you don't need right now. Yes, I can see already in the chat. Maybe you've got money you don't need right now that could be put to better use, but you're scared of doing something with it. And like I say, doing the wrong thing and losing that money potentially, or not understanding what that means, right? Do you have investments that aren't working as hard as you'd like, but you're unsure of the best alternatives that are low maintenance and won't actually keep you up in cold sweats at night, right? It's all good and well when your mate down the pub says, oh, buy this stock or buy this, cryptocurrency, whatever it is. But if that keeps you up in cold sweats, then that is not a strategy that's going to work for you. And I can see people answering these in the chat already, but I do want you to actually answer this one. Do you think you would waste less money each month if you had a solid investment plan tied to a specific end goal, which gave you clarity over how much you needed to invest at the start of each month. So if at the start of each month, I can see everyone saying yes, and it seems so simple. People are like, well, yeah, duh, but this is like a light bulb for moment for people, right? Because if you knew at the start of the month on payday, right, I have to invest this in order to achieve my goals, and I know I've got a plan in place to cover all of my needs, so I don't need any extra money for everything else because those are all covered, right? So that I know if I do this, I'm going to get to where I want to be. Suddenly, this is really easy. Why didn't I do this earlier? Is what most people think. Yes, definitely. So I totally understand. And yes, if you've got credit cards, then yes, like you said, you definitely need to get the debt gone. And like you say, Vicky, yes, but knowing how to. And this is where the knowledge that I'm going to pass on to you comes in, right? The bottom line is, guys, really sorry, not the bottom line, but if you answered yes to any of those questions, you're falling behind, right? Because that money that you're not investing is money that we could be using to buy back your time in the future if you knew how. The bottom line is, if you have no plan or even just kind of a plan and you're not investing optimally, right, with a proven system and a structure, then your money is devaluing at an alarming rate and your freedom is slipping further and further away from you. Just think about that for a second and just take the appropriate action. So those are those three pillars covered. The outcome from phase 2, after completing those and getting those pillars in place, is visibility and control. Finally, visibility and control. Think about how many of you actually feel like you have complete visibility over your future and control over your finances now and control over your finances in the future. Ask yourself if you have that, and if you don't, this is the system you need to implement. Ultimately, what this does is it gives you an understanding of how you're going to turn your situation around and achieve your goals, as well as exactly how long it's going to take to do that, which is really, really powerful. Then we get to phase 3, which is the scale phase. This is where we take all of these wins and successes and we scale, right? Unsurprisingly. In phase 3, you're going to eliminate all of your debt if you actually have it, right? If you do, that's what we'll focus on first. If you don't, we jump ahead to emergency fund. So if you do have debt, we do this, then the emergency fund, right? So if it's applicable to you, debt, if not, emergency fund. And then, the part on the emergency fund is important as well, because some people come to me and they already have some kind of savings, and sometimes they also have some kind of debt. So it's a case of understanding what we can use and leverage to get you to the best possible position as soon as possible to be able to start investing as much as possible. That's how we work. And when we do that and we get laser focused on one goal at a time, it creates momentum. It feels good. You see big results fast, and that makes you want to do even more. And suddenly you unlock all of this financial potential where you never would have otherwise been able to do so. So sometimes with the emergency fund, it's a case of checking what you already have versus what you already need. So I run a risk profile on each individual that I work with to understand the risk associated with their life setup and understand what they already have in savings, if anything, and build a gap between what they have and potentially what they need, or sometimes understanding what they have versus what they need and the surplus that they have and making sure that that is put to work elsewhere. So we're not just locking up too much money working inefficiently, right? So big differences there. We're also going to automate all of your payments, contributions, and finance tracking processes and begin executing on your investment plan and strategy for early retirement finally, right? So there's a bit of work to do before we get to this, but there's a very, very good reason. We work through things in a specified sequence of steps on purpose because it has been the best way to do things, as we have learned through doing this with 300 people, right? So we're going to begin executing on your investment plan and strategy for early retirement and financial freedom. The outcome from this phase, as you heard Jade say earlier in that video, is empowerment, right? Recognizing your wealth potential and suddenly realizing that you are in control of when you're going to be able to stop working, not your employer and not the government, and understanding the steps you need to take to make it happen and the timeline, so how long it's going to take to achieve it, right? Imagine having that visibility and clarity. Like I said, this is what gives me my confidence over my future. And if you don't have that, this system gives you that. Phase 4 is then the momentum phase. As its name suggests, this is where we take the momentum from the previous phases and we just keep it going. The hard work, quite frankly, is 99% done by this point. So it's just a case of watching your fortune build in front of your eyes. You will have at this point zero debt, sometimes including your mortgage, but a lot of time not, because it's often not the most optimal thing to do depending on your time horizon and how risk averse you are. But for most people, you know, there might still be some mortgage debt here. Otherwise, there'll be zero debt elsewhere, so zero consumer debt. You'll have been executing on your investment strategy and scaling your contributions and returns, and your savings rate by this point of your, you know, your process through the system will be topping 40% per month. So this is how much of your income you're saving on a monthly basis. Now, if someone had told me at the start of my journey that one day I'd be saving 40% of my income, I'd have been like, yeah, okay, see you later, me. But when I got started, my savings rate was 3%. For the last about 4 or 5 months, it has been over 50%, right? So just kind of putting it out there, this is after 9 years of taking consistent action that I've got to that point. This stuff doesn't happen overnight, but if you do it consistently, it does happen. Just want to make that clear. The outcome from this phase is unstoppable momentum. Financial freedom at this point of the process is now inevitable. It's a case of when, not if, right? You are now on the cusp of complete time, location, and financial freedom once you reach this point. And then we hit the ultimate phase, which is the freedom phase. Again, you will be completely debt-free, including your home by this point. You'll be financially free and no longer dependent on anyone or any employer, because your passive income that you are making from the investment portfolio we have built will be taking care of all of your financial needs. And because you are mortgage free by this point, with a house worth probably multiple 6 figures if you live anywhere in the UK for most people, and you've also got a high 6 to 7 figure portfolio, you're going to have a net worth of £1 to £3 million plus, right? Again, insane. If someone had said to me at the beginning of my journey, you're going to be a millionaire within the next 10 years, I'd have gone, yeah, all right, see you later, mate. But 9 years later, I'm 2 years away from hitting millionaire status, right? And people who come from where I came from, this doesn't happen to them. So, and this is all because I followed this process and this system consistently, right? The outcome from this phase is FU money. The freedom to do what you want, when you want, for as long as you want, without ever having to ask for permission. Turns out that secret formula for financial freedom that you've been looking for is incredibly simple. It's a tailored plan plus consistency multiplied by patience. And there's a reason that it's multiplied by patience. Patience is the magic part of this. If you consistently save, track, and invest your money against a tailored plan built around you with this system, and have patience for 5, 10 plus years, it's impossible that you fail to hit your financial goals, and if not, just drastically improve your prospects for the future, right? People only fail when they start to save and invest without having their pillars or a solid structured financial roadmap in place. And as a result of not having that structured roadmap in place, they don't have the clear goals and milestones that keep them on track. And without the direction, clarity, and conviction that comes with having those goals and milestones, they take money out of their investments or their savings, they sell out of their investments to do something stupid, and they kill their progress. And that is the worst thing you can do. So just don't be that person. Follow this process, stick to it every single month, and one day you'll check your portfolio only to realize you've now hit your FI number, your financial independence number, and you never have to work again. You can hand in your notice for retirement and live freely, right? And watch your bosses draw, hit the floor, right? I know some of you will be sat there thinking, okay, but does this really work? Will it work for me is often the most common one. I bet you all £1,000 that the most commonly asked question in the FAQ right now is, will this work for me though, because I've got XYZ circumstance, right? And another question we get is, okay, well, do I have enough money to actually achieve these things? Like, have I got enough to invest to actually make this worth it, right? And the answer to all of those questions of, does this really work? Will this work for me? And do I have the money to achieve these things? Is yes. Everyone can improve everyone can drastically improve their finances and future prospects with this process. And I can say that with confidence because I've seen all 313 plus at this point in time of the people who I've helped apply it do exactly that, right? The average student right now, like I said, the average student right now, if we run some numbers, is able to save and invest an extra £1,700 a month, right? That's the average, like I said. Worst case, after 12 months of consistent action, is £1,000 more per month going into their savings and investments than they previously had on average. Okay, sorry, worst case, the average is 1,700. So let's say, just for argument's sake, just to do some comparisons and run some numbers here, let's say that you are starting with just a blanket 10K in your investment accounts, pensions, workplace pensions, so on and so forth, and that you were to achieve the low end of these results and get that £1,000 more per month going into your workplace pensions and personal investments as a part of this process, right? After just 15 years of starting with 10K and having an extra 1K a month, thanks to this process and my help, that would have compounded to be worth £473,000. Not bad, right? I just made you nearly £500,000 richer than you otherwise would have been. But leave your money there for 10 more years and you'll have amassed over £1.4 million. And you're starting to see here the power of compounding. And this isn't my numbers that I made up. Please go online, go to a compound calculator website, put in the same numbers, and you will see it for yourself. You are starting to see the power of compounding and why it's so important to get started sooner rather than later. The clock really is ticking when it comes to compound interest, because after 30 years of taking that consistent action, your 1K extra per month investment will be worth a whopping 2.4 million. All right. So just to recap, you could save an extra £1,000 plus per month. Again, that's worst case. For a lot of people, it'll be more as part of this process, and invest that money using a simple set and forget strategy that I'll teach you, by the way, and you could accrue over 2.4 million potentially, right? Depending on where you're starting at right now. But what if you already have your money invested right now with a platform and maybe an advisor managing it for you? Well, assuming they get the same rate of return as the funds that we use, which have achieved those average rates that we've used in those calculations. And by the way, statistically speaking, and you can Google this, 70% of active money managers fail to match the performance of these funds that we use. But assuming that they can, just to do apples to apples, if you're paying a combined 1.5% fee totaling platform and management charges, right? And using the numbers that we've used in this illustration, again, to do apples to apples, you will end up with £562,000 less in your pocket by continuing to make that mistake, right? Use this system instead, and based on this illustration and these assumptions, of course, you'll potentially have £562,000 more in your pocket in retirement, right? It's a no-brainer, in my opinion. But do you want to know the crazy part as well? The crazy part is that for most of you, these outcomes are like a worst case scenario, right? With that like 2.4 million and so on. Firstly, the reason being is because most people are starting with a lot more than 10K. Not everyone, and that's fine if you're not. You've got more work to do, but it's still absolutely possible to drastically improve your prospects for the future. But most people are starting with more. Anyone who's worked for a period of, a decade or more in some kind of workplace has got a workplace pension, employer contributions that's built up to more than 10K. You've maybe got ISAs, some crypto investments, I don't know, whatever it is, right? So a lot of people have got more than 10K across savings and investments and pensions right now. So that's the main reason why this is worst case, because we've used an assumption of 10K. But secondly, the reason for most people that this is a worst case scenario is that when you follow this system, we don't just look at your investments like a traditional financial advisor. We ensure that your finances are optimized from the ground up, meaning that your expenses, we get to a point where they remain the same or consistent, or we have measured inflation, right, rather than just it happening to you and being out of control. So because they stay more consistent, as your income increases, right, as that happens, your cash flow increases consistently. Your contributions to your workplace pension also increase. You gain additional tax relief via our account structuring optimizations, which means more money flowing into your accounts at no extra cost to you. And that means your monthly free cash flow that can be put towards your personal investments outside of your pension also grows. And before you know it, you're contributing way more than you ever thought you could. So you'll likely achieve way more than this potentially. Again, depending on your timeline, your time horizon, how much you're starting with, how much you've got to work with, and so on and so forth. But that will only happen if you have the right plan and start today. I've made sure, as it's my job to do so, right? Every single one of my one-on-one students are in the position to take full advantage of this compounding effect ASAP, and that they have a fully optimized plan with as much free cash flow as possible to pump into this money multiplying phenomenon. Because the earlier you start and the more you have, the more your money will grow and the faster it will compound and grow for you. Okay. In fact, I want to tell you about one of my students, because I guarantee some people are probably saying in the Q&A, yes, but I'm age X. Is it still worth it for me? So I want to tell you about one of my students who thought he was getting started at too late. And you might be a little bit younger, a little bit older, but take this, as a grain of salt, compare it to where you are, right? But he thought he was getting started too late at the age of 49 and then started using my strategies. We were able to help him save over £100,000 in interest on his debts as well. And he still shaved 9 years off of his expected retirement age, despite starting at the age of 49 with quite a lot of debt. And here's what he had to say about it.
I mean, I think what I would say is, having come into this at 49 without a plan to get to 60, which is my retirement age in my head, it's helped me with that. I mean, if I was coming into this plan, a bit into the academy, as a younger man or woman, I think it's incredibly powerful. I mean, I think I'd probably be retired already if I came, if I came into this when I was 29. I think I'd already have a plan to retire at my age now, right? So, yeah. But even having come to it late, I suppose the point I'd make, even having come to it quite late in the party, is that I can still see an enormous benefit, and it's 100% worth the investment. And I think your style, Joe, is very friendly, and there's no such thing as a stupid question. We all are quite open with each other. We've all made mistakes, and financially or otherwise in the past, and it's quite an open forum. We talk openly, and I think it's very, very helpful. I think anyone would be doing themselves a big favor to join. Honestly, I think it's very powerful.
So if this incredibly powerful, as Neil put it, and simple process, right, as Neil put it, is all it takes, then why isn't everyone doing this and able to retire early? It's a good question. And the answer, again, is really, really simple. It's because until now, you simply haven't been given this information and this proven structured process for achieving all of your goals. It hasn't been handed to you until this point. And once that's in place, once you have the information, the knowledge, and the tools on all of this, you'll have clarity over your finances and the steps you need to take. And that clarity and process gives you the confidence you need to make good, informed financial and investment decisions, because you'll understand how and why they are going to drive you closer to your specific, clearly defined end goal. Rather than going into things in fear that you might do something wrong and end up with less, you'll go in with confidence, knowing that if you do this and follow the process and stick to it, that you will end up with more, right? And this is what allows you to begin looking forward on your future with certainty and excitement and clarity, rather than uncertainty and fear. It's a huge mindset shift. The bottom line is, until you follow a structured system like this, you're not going to make the progress you want to see, because you have lives, families, and hobbies to be getting on with, and you don't have the time to figure this all out for yourselves. Otherwise, you would have done it by now. So just follow this strategy, stay disciplined, and don't do anything stupid. Just like Reese did. This isn't another video, so don't panic. But Reese found me at 28. He earned good money, but and you can find the interview we did with him. It's just like 27 minutes long, but feel free to watch it. It's on my YouTube. He earned good money, but him and his wife found themselves living paycheck to paycheck, stressed about money, in tens of thousands of pounds worth of debt. And they were living, so him and his wife were living with their 3 boys at his dad's house, waiting to buy their own house for what they thought was going to be over 3 years before they'd be able to buy that house. And they also thought, best case, they'd maybe retire by the age of 68. After just 8 weeks of working through the system, using the tools and with my help, they are now 2.5 grand a month better off. They've got 2.5 grand more cash flow per month than they had previously. They are no longer stressed about opening their online banking app because they now know that it's going to tell them things they already know. They've paid off 90% of the debt they had. They've saved 4 grand in interest by just moving things around in a way they never considered was possible before, right? Until I kind of showed them how to do it. But one of the biggest wins, if not the biggest winner from all of this, is that by doing all of this and having me optimize their finances and the plan we put in place, is it's now only going to take them 10 months to be able to buy that house. So from living with his dad, with their 3 boys, for what they thought was going to be 3 years, to now knowing it's only going to take 10 months for them to be able to buy their house, right? I think if anyone, his dad is probably really, really happy. But they are both happy as well. By the way, he's also cut 21 years off of his retirement age. Right. The reason most don't achieve results like this is because they put it off and they let life happen to them rather than jumping on an opportunity like this and making the life they want to have happen. You've got to decide which one of those camps you're in. So I've got 2 scenarios here to demonstrate the cost of putting this off, the cost of delaying for anyone delaying their financial journey. We've got Jean on the left and Joanna on the right. They are the exact same age, right? They're 30 for argument's sake here. And both of them want to be able to retire by the age of 60. So in 30 years time with 40 grand a year in retirement income, which will require a £1 million portfolio using the safe withdrawal rate of 4%. Okay. Now, both of them have £550 a month that they can invest. Okay. Jean is great. We love Jean. She starts today and she ends up with just over £1 million. She ends up with £1,050,000 at the age of 60, giving her an income of £42,000 a year. That's an extra 2 grand a year for more travel, more leisure, and the stuff she loves doing. Right? That's a massive bonus. Joanna, on the other hand, puts it off because now's not a great time. Right? How many times have we heard that? She starts 12 months later as a result, which flies by. She thinks, oh, it's only been a couple of months since I said, now's not a great time. Oh, wait, it's been a year. I better get started. 12 months later, and because she got started 12 months later, she ends up with £93,000 less than Jean at the same time point, which is £4,000 less in income per year in retirement, right? Unfortunately, that means it doesn't meet her income requirements and means she has to cut back on the travel and the fun and the leisure she wanted to have in retirement just so she can pay her bills and cover her basic essentials. Waiting for the right time is going to leave you worse off by literally tens, if not hundreds of thousands of pounds, because that gap doesn't grow by the same amount each year that you wait. It grows exponentially with compounding. And the shorter your time frame and the more that you need than $1 million, the quicker that gap compounds. Okay. So these numbers, take them with a grain of salt because they assume that you're starting from zero, which most of you are not. But they are a great illustration of how much it costs you to wait, delay, or even the cost of trying to figure it out for yourself, which is obviously always going to take longer than having someone who's already done it do it for you. You get the idea there, right? So tell me, are you really too busy to save yourself £93,000, right? Are things right now that bad that you're going to accept the cost of £93,000 to wait a bit longer to get started, right? How about £250,000, which is the extra you would need to contribute out of your pocket if you get started in your 50s and 60s rather than your 30s and 40s? It is not worth the cost, right? No one is too busy to save themselves that much, and waiting for the right time is not an excuse that your future self is going to be happy with when it's you that is stuck working into your 60s and 70s. Now, if you're watching this and you are in your 50s or 60s and you're thinking, oh, well, that means there's no point in me doing this. You're wrong, because it doesn't matter how late you feel like you're getting started, there is still massive potential to unlock, right? Granted, it's never going to be as big as it would have gone if you got started sooner. I'm not going to beat around the bush here, but there is still masses to be done. A lot of potential we can unlock, and you can still drastically improve your prospects for the future and retire earlier than you otherwise would have, with more income than you would otherwise have had if you continue to just do nothing or whatever you're doing right now. So just bear that in mind. Here is what we have covered so far. You know that your problems can be fixed and your goals and desires achieved with this system. All right, you've heard from the people who've done it. You've seen the system laid out for you in detail with the outcomes that you can expect to achieve once you complete each phase. And you know the power of compound interest and the importance of getting a custom investment plan and strategy in place sooner rather than later. And you've seen what it's going to cost you if you wait, right? With every month you wait amounting to tens of thousands extra that you will either be short of in retirement if you wait, or that you will have to contribute extra out of your pocket to catch up to where you could have been, right? If you didn't start today. Really, really important. Now, there are some questions that we often hear at this point in time, and a couple of things I wanted to mention as well. One of the questions we often get is, okay, but will this work for me? As I've said, it's probably the most commonly asked question. As you've seen, I've worked with people across all demographics, ages, income ranges, locations around the world, and starting points as well. Every single one of these people, no matter where they were starting from or what age they were starting from, are now better off, right? I've also worked with people across the planet as well, so it doesn't really matter where you're located. No matter your location or current circumstances, all of those people, no matter their location or their circumstances, all of those people now know how to achieve their specific goals and how long it's going to take, which is visibility and clarity they didn't have before, and they've got more money to make it happen and will end up with more money as a result, okay? Another one of the questions we get, especially from people who have not kind of like delved into investing before or not seen the stuff around compounding, is I'm afraid I'll lose money, which I totally understand, right? It's a really, really common fear to have. Ultimately, getting started with investing is daunting if you've never done it before. So having someone to hold your hand through the process is massively powerful because it ensures that you don't miss out, but feel more comfortable about the journey that you're on. And this is why I'm also so keen on not just providing you with like a roadmap and a bunch of steps and expecting you to blindly follow it, but also providing you with the education you need on all of the processes and strategies that we'll use to achieve your goals via investing, so that you have the confidence you need to enact the steps that I give you. It's a massive difference. Okay. Ultimately, when it comes to investing, again, not going to beat around the bush. When it comes to investing, your investments will go down as well as up over time. Right. But what we know is that the market has averaged a 10.9% annualized return for the past 80 years or so. And we use a return estimate of 9% to be safe and factor in inflation in two other places to double count it, to make sure that we are essentially under promising and over delivering on the forecast that everything we provide, so that actually you're likely to get there a bit earlier with maybe a bit more than we anticipated, rather than, you know, getting to where I told you were going to get to and being like, oh, nowhere near yet. What was he on about? Right, I'd much rather underpromise and overdeliver so that you're pleasantly surprised. So we're really, really cautious about the plans that we put in place. So hopefully that's helped shift your mindset there. Another thing we hear, despite what we've just talked about, is now isn't a great time. Well, for whatever reason, look, you know how much it's going to cost you if you wait. Right. The bottom line is that the people who dive in immediately, they unlock their financial potential and have their custom roadmap in place, normally within about 30 to 60 days. Okay, so it could be worst case 2 months from now, and your whole future financial roadmap is already mapped out, and you've got that peace of mind, clarity, and certainty that you're going to be okay. So quite a big mindset shift. Again, it's hard to put a price on, right? Those who don't jump in, those who don't dive in immediately, who put it off because now's not a great time, they slip back into the day-to-day routine, and before you know it, another 2 years have gone by in a flash, right? Anyone who kids knows that. And you're now literally over £100,000 behind where you could have been based on those numbers we used earlier, had you just got started when you had the chance to do so. So just take that and do with it what you will. And finally, something we don't hear this too often, but particularly from the few people who haven't done investing before, haven't learned about compounding before, is they see those calculations and they say, well, that sounds too good to be true, right? Now, it's good to be skeptical. But actually, I think you'll see, hopefully you've seen through this, I don't beat around the bush. I don't try to sell some kind of hocus pocus bullshit. That's not how I operate. Hopefully you see that this actually doesn't sound too good to be true, because it's not a get rich quick scheme by any shape of the imagination, by any stretch of the imagination. And we are using government approved, regulated methods of investing and building wealth over the long term, right? These are proven, time tested principles. It takes time it takes patience, and it takes consistency, consistent action over time. And if you don't put in the work, you will not get any results. I will guarantee that for you. Okay. If I was promising to make you a millionaire tomorrow, next week, even next year, right, or even in a couple of years from now, but by just clicking a few buttons on a screen and watching some algorithm trade for you in the market while you go off for a nice like posh lunch and come back and have made 10K, right? That is not real. People trying to sell that are trying to sell you a get rich quick scheme, and this is not what this is, right? So hopefully you can see that that is too good to be true. This is not. This takes working consistently. If you don't do it, you won't get results. So hopefully you can see the difference there, and I've helped to shift your mindset. Okay. Now that you have all of this information, you have two options, just like I did at the start of my journey, right? Option one for me was burying my head in the sand and doing nothing, right? Option one for you is you take what you've learned today. So you're in a bit of an advantage compared to where I was at. You can take what you've learned today and attempt to build a comprehensive financial plan for your future and your family's future around everything going on in your life with the existing commitments that you already have. If you do, I want to be really, really clear about what you need to do and what you need that plan to address so that you understand exactly what it is you have to do and have a good chance of making that happen. Okay. You're going to need that plan to address your monthly finances. You'll need a proactive money management and tracking system, which feeds you the info you need on monthly free cash flow, savings and investment growth, and debt progress, a net worth impact calculator, a debt elimination planner, if applicable, sinking fund and account structuring setup for level loading your yearly finances, accurate fine number calculation and iteration schedule, and a tax efficient investment plan, ISA bridging strategy, if it's applicable to you, and life insurance strategy built around that fine number. And you'll need to link all of this to your existing current circumstances. And I say that because if you're not tying all of the pieces of your existing financial puzzle together with this robust plan that you are trying to build, then not only will it eventually leave you feeling lost and confused sooner or later, but you're also going to miss out on a ton of easy wins and optimizations, which mean you miss out on getting tens, if not hundreds of thousands more in your investment accounts over your lifetime at no extra cost to you. And that is obviously just going to delay your progress and your results even further. Okay. So that's option one. Option two goes without saying, right? I can help you shortcut the entire process and give you the tools, knowledge, and structured system that took me 9 years to develop on day one of your journey, along with ongoing accountability. If you do this, you'll have a step-by-step plan tailored to your circumstances in place within 30 to 60 days. Okay. No ambiguity, no guesswork, no fear of making huge financial mistakes, just clarity, certainty, and confidence in your finances and your future. So how do you get my help? That's probably the question you might be asking. At this point, it's time to reveal that gift. Okay. I've intentionally reserved it until this point of the presentation. I can see we've got 1,100 people across two platforms right now. So quite a lot. I've intentionally reserved it to this point of the presentation, though, so that only those of you who are actually committed, which is quite a lot of you, which is good to see, those of you who are actually committed to achieving your financial goals, who have stayed to this point, get the opportunity that you are about to receive. And because you've watched this far, I think it's safe to assume that you're the kind of people who are not all talk, right? And you're actually ready to do what it takes, which is good. For the record, this is exclusively for you because you joined the webinar, and you won't see me promoting this anywhere else. I never have, and I never will. Okay, are you ready? I'm giving you the opportunity to get access to the video course element of the Financial Freedom Academy. I'm going to say that again. I'm giving you the opportunity to get your hands on the video course element of the Financial Freedom Academy. This is normally sold as an add-on for my one-on-one students at £1,080, but I'm offering it to you today to help you with everything I've laid out for you during this event. And that's not all. I'm giving you £600 off and lifetime access to the 35 videos now actually, and 4 tools that will walk you through exactly what you need to do step by step to secure your finances and set yourself up for a more comfortable earlier retirement. So I'm just going to drop the link in the chat so that everyone has it. When you do so, you will check out and you'll be given the option to select a time to have a call with someone from my team, which I'm going to tell you more about in just a second. So please don't skip past that page. And there are payment plan options available on that as well. Just bear in mind that you select the one that's applicable for you. It will tell you what the payments are over how many months, just so you are clear. Okay. By the way, with your lifetime access to this course, you get all future updates at no extra cost. So for context, like I said, we got 35 videos and 4 tools right now. We started with 22 videos and 2 tools. So we've added 13 more modules in the last 3 years and 2 additional tools. So really, really important, because there's a lot of extra added value. And when we add value, we increase the price. So when you lock it in now, you never have to pay more. The reason for this offer, which by the way is the biggest I've ever done and will not be doing again, because saying it out loud, I'm still not sure this is sustainable, is that I believe that if you're watching this, then you really are serious about achieving similar results to those you've seen me and my clients achieve, right? And if that's the case, the bottom line, this is the information and knowledge you need to achieve it. And by the way, the reason for there only being 20 copies available, as you can see on the screen there, is because each person who invests in the video course will qualify to book a call with my team where they'll have the opportunity to apply to join the one-on-one coaching academy inside the Financial Freedom Academy. But we only have 20 spots there, so it didn't make sense to offer more than that for the video course. Otherwise, there'd be more people wanting that than we have spaces available, and that would be upsetting for you. So this seems like the fairest way to do it. So bear that in mind. The thing I'm really excited to announce, though, as I said earlier on, opportunity that we're giving you here, which we've never done before, and we definitely won't be doing this one again. The thing I'm really excited to announce, though, is that when you do join the one-on-one coaching academy, I'm also going to take a huge £2,000 off your enrollment fee for the one-on-one coaching, where you get 9 months of one-on-one access to me, and where you'll have me build out your entire lifetime financial roadmap for you and with you, right? This is a really, really rare opportunity. This is an exclusive one-off that I've never done before. And like I said, I won't be doing again, hence why we capped the numbers. To be clear, that money off offer is only for those who purchase the video course, right? Because ultimately you are demonstrating commitment to achieving your goals. So you are the people I want to give my time to, and I want who I want my team to give our time to, right? So I can see we've got seven people already who bought and booked their call. Wow, okay, this is good. So just bear in mind, once you get the course, lock in your call. Before that call, you don't need to have completed any of the video calls. So because whether you do the one-on-one coaching or not, either way, you need the video course. So it's not like if you get the video course and then join the program that it was a wasted investment. Like either way, you need it because it's got the instructions for what we'll do in the program, but it's also what you can do if you're doing just the video course DIY. So whilst you're locking in your space, let me tell you about what you're actually getting with this video course whilst there are still any available. So the video course it's really as close as you can get to guaranteeing that you'll achieve your goals and become financially free. Obviously, the absolute guarantee is when you work with me, because then that's when I'm responsible for you getting the results. But when you just use the video course, you're responsible for showing up, not me. Because in under 30 days with the video course, you will identify and fix your self-sabotaging money habits, freeing up thousands of pounds every single year in cash flow. You will learn how to master and maintain a money management system that enables you to build wealth on autopilot every single month. You will learn how to systematically eliminate your debt faster, saving thousands of pounds in interest. You will learn how to build a set and forget investment plan and strategy that leads to an earlier, more comfortable retirement. And you will identify exactly how and when you will hit each of your financial milestones with the step-by-step walkthroughs provided in the course. There is a reason, a very, very good reason why nobody in the Financial Freedom Academy has ever failed. It's because you get all of the information, all of the knowledge, and all of the tools you need that work with this specific system without the fluff. Right? You also get a proven, structured, step-by-step system to follow, along with the tools, like I said, that are built to work with that specific system as you work through it. It just completely removes the guesswork, and by doing so, helps you avoid the costly mistakes and delays that pretty much everyone faces when they try to do this alone. I tried to do this alone. If I'd had this, I'd be 3-4+ years ahead of where I am right now. 8. Okay, so another 8 have all gone, or not yet. So an 8 have gone. Okay, we've got 5 left. Okay, that's amazing. Right, let me hurry up because I've got bonuses. I need to tell you about the bonuses. So while you're finding your way over to the page and locking in your copy, let me share the bonuses that are exclusively for you on the school. And just to kind of preempt that, the bonus is already loaded into the course. So you don't have to kind of like, there's not another thing that you have to get access to. Anyone who buys the version of the course that's available tonight will get these bonuses already preloaded into their version of the course. Okay, so bonuses, let's go. When you get the video course, you're going to get an immediate upgrade to the full premium financial freedom tracker spreadsheet. This is the creme de la creme. There is nothing above this, okay, that I offer. This is several levels up from the basic version of the budgeting template you may already have. You'll be able to set, track, and achieve all of your financial goals faster and easier than you can imagine with this tool. And by the way, lifetime updates are included at no extra cost to this tool as well. The return, by the way, that you should expect to receive, I'm going to list these out. The return that you should expect to see from using just this tool alone. And by the way, there are 4 tools. This is just one of them. And in this one tool, there are 8 tabs. Just the first tab alone will give you a return of around £400 per month, okay? The return you should expect to see from just using that one tab of this one tool, £400 a month at minimum. That is like the low end of what our students achieve in terms of improvements to their monthly finances. The range is from about 400 up to about 6,500 a month, and that's just based on the range of the income of the people that we work with, plus, you know, dual income versus single income, so on and so forth. So even if you're at the bottom end of this is paid for itself within a month and a bit. And you've got access to everything else as well within this, and all the investing stuff and all of the other tools. This is hopefully emphasizes just how much you're getting for this small investment. So the lifetime benefit, when you consider that's 1 year of that in the investment that you're making, 1 year of returns of that, it's 4,800. And then every year after that's another 4,800 if you're just on the low end, right? So just consider what the impact of that is going to be. In fact, I would encourage you to log into the course as soon as your email instructions arrive. By the way, if you've already purchased or you're about to, check your junk folder. If you don't get an email straight away with your name followed by here's access to your video course, check your junk folder because it will be in there unless you've entered your email incorrectly, right? In which case, reach out to us and we'll get that sorted. But that's the only reason we've ever found that people haven't received that link is because they entered their email incorrectly. So make sure you enter it. Make sure you enter your email correctly first of all, and then check your junk folder. And once you've found that email, watch the introduction video. Download this tool from the tool section of phase 1 of the course, and that way you can get started immediately and we'll see a return on your investment within the next few days. That is the best advice I can give you. So that's just the first bonus. You're also going to gain immediate access to the debt elimination walkthrough and debt elimination planning and execution tool. Okay, I'm going to say that again. This is a debt elimination walkthrough showing you best practice and principles of how to actually structure your debt elimination using the debt elimination planning and execution tool included in the course. This combination has helped my clients avoid £23,000 in interest on average, right? And become debt-free 10 years faster on average. The high end sometimes is above 6 figures, right? It's insane the amount of interest people have been able to save, like well into the 6 figures. So if you have debt, this piece alone, if you just get the average results, will pay for your investment today 52 times over. And that's just, again, just one element of it, right? Now, if you don't have debt, that's cool. You're going to get this anyway, because obviously it's kind of like the best we could get of like a one-size-fits-all video course to get everyone from where they are to where they want to be. But you're probably way more interested in the next bonus. Sorry. They're gone. Okay. Sorry, I'm just talking. My team can hear me. I can't hear them. They're sending me messages. Yeah, no, that's fine. Do that. That's cool. Right. Yes. Sorry. So the 20 have gone. So what we're going to do. So what we've done is we've got 30 spaces. That's the maximum we take on in a month. We were offering 20 here. 10 were available on social media. So people coming in via our website, inquiry forms, and social media. They're not here, and you are. And there's obviously more people who want this, and we have them available. So we are going to shut the program publicly for the rest of December, by the sounds of it. and not let anyone else in apart from the people who are on this call. So those 10 are now available. I've been told the thingy counting down how many copies are left on the website is now broken because we need to update that to show the extra copies. So just don't pay any attention to that for the time being. That's going to be fixed in the next few minutes. And congrats to John, Catherine, and Jane. I'm told you took the last 3 copies. So that's mad. Okay, so there's 10 more. I'm going to reveal another bonus and then do a quick count just to make sure we've actually got any left. But I'm going to try and get through these bonuses because I've got a few more yet, and I'm still not done. So go lock one in. So with the video course, a bit thrown off now. With the video course, you are also going to unlock everything you need to achieve the success that you've been looking for with your investments once and for all. I'm going to say that again because it's a question that we get. Does this cover the investing stuff? Is often the question we get. Yes, with the video course, you are going to unlock everything you need to achieve the success that you've been looking for with your investments once and for all, whether that is just understanding what it is to begin with, all the way through to how to actually execute it, build and execute a portfolio and manage that portfolio going forward, or if you just need the latter stuff, it's going to cover everything. With the video course, these bonuses, you're going to get immediate access to 11 video modules covering everything you need to know on how to invest for financial freedom. This includes everything from what is investing, investment choices and allocations, compounding and the power of now, tax efficient investing, index fund investing, investing mistakes to avoid so you don't become another statistic, the true cost of investment fees so you can avoid ever paying more than you need to for the same results, what it takes to pick individual stocks step by step, how to build, structure and manage a portfolio, how to tolerate, manage and leverage market volatility, which is inevitable, how to calculate your FIRE number, the 4% rule and how it works and the theory behind it, and much, much more as well. I've just realized that was 12, not 11. So there you go, you've got another one. So this, and by the way, this is on top of step-by-step video walkthroughs on different ways to calculate your FIRE number so that you'll know exactly how much you need to invest each month, how to invest that, what type of accounts to utilize for tax efficiency, what your allocation percentages should be across your selected asset types, and how to forecast your returns accurately and build, manage, and rebalance your portfolio going forwards. And then, I kind of just gave a hint away then to help you with the building and ongoing management and balancing of your portfolio, all of which I show you how to do in the course, by the way, I'm also going to give you access to an additional Excel tool. Okay. With this tool, so this is tool number 3 of 4, you can set your target allocations, asset types, and safety margins. And this might be gobbledygook for some of you, but the video course talks exactly how to do this step by step. You then input your actual holdings, so how many of each asset or how many of each fund type you own or each stock type. And using some fancy coding, which is already built in that you can't possibly break, hopefully, it will keep track of your current market prices to let you know if and when you verge outside of your target allocations. And this might sound like something you're like, if you don't really understand it, like, why would I need it? This is really important because you can then make informed, data-driven decisions about what you are going to buy, sell, or potentially stop buying in order to rebalance your entire portfolio. This is really, really key. It's amazing to me how many people come to me in the program or before joining and they think they don't need it because they say, well, I've already got a portfolio and I'm managing it fine. What can you do that I can't? And I say, that's fine. Like, talk me what you're through right now, and how none of them ever mention the rebalancing of their portfolio. And then when I ask them about it, they say, what do you mean? And I'm like, sorry, you've got a portfolio worth however much you've just said it's worth, and you're not rebalancing it. And it's because they've never been taught how or never realized that they should be doing it. And therefore they are missing out on additional confidence, control, having a system which gives them confidence and control, and often better returns, right? Having this tool, again, just removes the guesswork, puts optimizations and better returns in place pretty much immediately, and ultimately in the long run ends up putting more money in your pocket. That's what all of this is geared up to do, is put more money in your pocket today and in the future. Now, the next bonus is brand new. I'm really excited about this. The reason I'm excited is because before today, this bonus, this thing I'm including here as a bonus, was exclusively available only for my Academy members. But You are also going to get access to a safe withdrawal rate risk calculator, which is a real big mouthful. But let me explain what this is, because it is a game changer. So as part of the process, once you've determined your FI number and your withdrawal rate and how long it's going to take you to get there, you can plug your numbers into this calculator and it will show you the percentage likelihood of success of your specific numbers from retirement through the rest of your days, and giving you specific numbers on kind of like the likelihood of success of that portfolio lasting through your retirement. It's absolutely incredible. What it does is it looks back over 65 different 30-year windows between 1922 and 2022 and tells you how many times your plan would have failed in those exact real market conditions based on history, and how many times how many times it would have succeeded versus failed. Gives you a percentage likelihood of success, and then you can adjust it accordingly to up your success rate, or if you're happy to take more risk, decrease it and potentially get slightly early retirement, so on and so forth. It's a game changer. It's incredible. Again, more peace of mind, more confidence. And when it comes down to it, guys, confidence is ultimately what encourages you to keep plugging away at your goals, which means higher odds of success. And that means more money in your pocket. Again, right? It really is as simple as that. And then another bonus. And this is special, okay? I'm emailing out access to a case study article, which again was previously only available for my one-on-one coaching students. And I produced this for them because I'll tell you what it is, and you'll see why I produced this for them. The title of the document is "The 3 Money Murdering Mistakes That No Financial Advisor Would Dare Tell You." So it says a lot, right? Again, I would check your junk folder because you do not want to miss this module of the course. This article details the 3 key mistakes that I see people making every day. Like I said, 3 years, I've worked with over 300 people. So I've been able to gather a lot of data in that time. And these 3 mistakes are the most common mistakes being made the most often, that are costing people the most money. And I mean literally hundreds of thousands over their lifetime. But the most brutal part is it's money they never realized they didn't have, because it was money they never had in the first place. It's just money that never came their way, that could have come their way had they known what to do with it. Ultimately, though, this guide not only talks you through how these mistakes are made, it shows you how to avoid making them yourself, or even stop the damage being done to your wealth potential, if you're already making one or more of these mistakes. Now, you can see next to each of those bonuses that I've listed out on the slide there, I provided the return that you should expect to receive from each one. So you're already getting £600 off of a course that will help you retire potentially 18 years earlier. But let's say, for argument's sake, that you're only able to retire 5 years earlier than you could have without this course. So on average, it helps people retire 18 years earlier. We're going to say in your case, it's worst case scenario. We only help you retire 5 years. We only give you 5 years of your life back, right? And let's say that each of those years of you getting your life back and additional freedom are worth a mere £1,000 to you per year. I mean, if people were selling extra years of retirement for £1,000 a piece, I'd be taking out loans and credit cards of all sorts, right? But if it's £1,000 for each year and we only help you unlock 5 of those years, well, that's £5,000 worth of value immediately. Okay, and it's only £480. Then there's the monthly improvements to your expenses of at least £400. That's another £4,800 every single year. Then we have the debt modules and tools, which have saved my clients 23 grand in interest in 10 years of their lives, that they now won't have to make payments towards their debts, and they can earn that money to make payments towards their future instead of lining the pockets of the banks. Well, that's another £23,000 of value, and whatever value you associate with having 10 years of not having to pay off your debts. Then there's the modules and tools you need to build your effective, tax efficient, low fee investment plan and strategy using safe, proven, time-tested methods that actually work. Unless you already have all of that in place on just that investing piece, that piece alone is going to earn you hundreds of thousands over your lifetime, if not more. And the average student right now, on top of all of that, like I said, is saving £468,000 in just investment and advisor fees alone by working with me using this process and investing strategy versus an advisor charging a combined 1.5% management and platform fee. So, I mean, we're at literally hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of value, and this is only £480. So please, if you're sat there thinking, can I afford or do I want to spend, is this worth £480, any one of those things? I would stress you to ask yourself, can I afford to carry on without this course, without this knowledge, without these tools, without this structure, that none of which you currently have? Because I don't mean that to sound arrogant, but when you've worked with as many people as I have, and you see the cost of not doing this and the benefit of doing it, you realize that every month that you continue without this knowledge and these tools is costing you a lot more than the £480 one-off cost, right? So I just want to double check how many, someone give me an update, how many we've got left. Okay, half of those 10 that we added have gone already. And there's one more bonus. I'm not done, right? So this one is something really special for the action takers who are on the call tonight. With access to the video course, as I've alluded to, you're going to get an exclusive opportunity to apply for my one-on-one mentorship inside the full Financial Freedom Academy. Okay, I've touched on this already, but the Academy is where I personally guide a select number of individuals to accelerate their journey to financial freedom. Can't do it for everyone. I've literally only got so much time in the day, which is why we've limited the numbers. This isn't fake scarcity. It's me that does this for you and with you. Okay, for especially the financial freedom planning piece. So I can only take on so many people. But I need you to understand why this bonus in particular is so important, because I mean, as of right now, there's no one else who can get in on this, right? The doors to the Academy are closed. We are intentionally now holding off on taking anyone else on so that you get priority consideration to join. Because like I said, I want to reward action takers, and you are the ones who have shown up tonight and shown intent. So you're the people I want to help and the people I want to prioritize. But on top of that, like I said, for everyone who does get the opportunity to go forward for the one-on-one coaching, I'm offering a massive £2,000 off your enrollment, which is the biggest, it's making my eyes water a bit. It's the biggest money off offer I have ever run. And with that offer, plus the video course gift prize, that's £2,600 less than anyone else is going to pay for this program. So let's not tell everyone. Once you purchase the video course, you're going to be invited to book a 45-minute one-on-one call with one of my senior team. So just make sure you lock that in. And like I said, you don't have to have done the video course at that point, because whether you do the coaching or not, you're going to need the video course anyway. So don't let that be a reason why you put that off. During the call, we'll just ask a few questions to dive deeper into your circumstances to assess, firstly, that you're a good fit for it, and determine if we can deliver the level of results that we're known for, ultimately. Just like Ross did, right? Ross went from having no plan at the age of 42 to retiring at the age of 50 in the space of 8 weeks. Matt, who went from depleting his inherited savings with no future plans to now investing £500 more every single month and being set to retire at 47. Angelica, who thought, in her words, that she'd be working until she was dead, right? Very cheerful. She's now saving $1,400 more per month and set to retire at 55. Juliana, who went from having no goal, no financial plan, and literal financial anxiety to saving an extra $4.5 grand between her and her partner, and now being set to retire at 51, despite getting started in her 40s. So on. You can see more stories there. There's more stories on my YouTube channel. There's like 15 plus of these videos now that we've done with people who've been through the process. You go to my Instagram page and look at my client wins highlights, little circles below my profile picture. Go to the client wins 1 and 2. There's like 150 plus individual kind of successes that each of our students have gone on to achieve that they were happy for me to post about, and so on. So if you're serious about bettering your finances and would like my one-on-one support, literally holding your hand through the entire process, I urge you to take this opportunity, because you can see that it works. So why wouldn't you? Right? So get your video course and tools, lock in your call, and jump on the opportunity to join the Academy with, like I said, like £2.5 grand plus off what it's going to cost anyone else. Because if you do, you could be the next person that I interview for our client success videos. Obviously, some people choose to stay anonymous; they don't want their, video up, and that's absolutely fine. We respect that. So we always ask permission for anything we post, and these people are happy to take time out of their day without being paid or anything like that to take part in these videos, which I think is a really, really huge testament to the service that we've delivered for them. But we talked earlier about your options, right? Option one being try to do all of this yourself and get all of those things in place that I mentioned to you to make sure this actually works, and hope that it doesn't take too many years or that you don't make too many costly mistakes, like everyone does. Or option two being this course, the Academy, giving you everything you need and me building out your entire lifetime roadmap in 30 to 60 days, and also guaranteeing that you get the results you want or your money back, right? And the people on my team will tell you more about that guarantee. But there is literally a money back guarantee. So bear that in mind. Now, I've been running this program for 3 years. So we've spoken to a lot of people, right? You can imagine of the 300 people we've helped, how many more people than that we've spoken to who decided not to go ahead. And of course, some people do decide to go it alone, right? Unfortunately. And in those cases, we always follow up with them 6 months later. So these people when I say go it alone, I mean they didn't get the video course and they also didn't get the one-on-one coaching. So they got no help. They didn't sign up for anything. They didn't invest in themselves. In those cases, we always follow up with them 6 months later to see how they're doing, right? This is what we've seen happen to those people who went it alone and took no action. First of all, many of them become just simply overwhelmed with the number of steps that they need to take, not knowing the order in which to take them, and therefore not knowing the exact starting point for them. Right? It's just like I said, most people just never get started because they are just overwhelmed and they're in analysis paralysis. And because they don't get the help, they stay in a state of analysis paralysis. So ask yourself, do you want to stay in analysis paralysis, or do you want to move forward from that finally and become enlightened on the world of financial, best practices, financial money management and investing? And ultimately, they just don't start when they don't get help, and life and opportunity just continues to pass them by. They don't know what choice to make with the various investment types and platforms available to them, and that often leads to them choosing the wrong one, or maybe even just like a less optimal version of what they could have chosen had they got some help, and they end up paying tens of thousands, if not more, in unnecessary fees over their investing lifetime. They're also not educated on how to optimize for tax efficiencies, and therefore they lose out on tens of thousands more that they could have had in their accounts at no cost to them, right? Which is a real sad situation and really, really hard to see. They also often lack the confidence they need to continue investing because they have a bunch of questions on investing and fear they're going to do the wrong thing. So they continue to do nothing and think, oh, I'll come back to this next week. And then before you know it, 3 more years have gone by and they still haven't invested either as much as they could have or at all, right? And because they tried it alone, they don't have anyone to help guide them through to say, yes, it's that button, it's this platform, that's the fund that you said you wanted, this is how you buy it. This is what it means for your future. If you do this much, this is what it can become, blah, 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 blah. So that like I say, so that you understand the overarching principles, theory, structure, principles, and what it's going to mean for you specifically, so that you have confidence in the plan that we're putting in place for you. Now, really, really important here. I'm going to go through, to mention this, and then I'm going to do Q&A. In the 3 years that we've been following up with people who took option one, which is no video course, no one-on-one help. Again, to stress that point, these people didn't get the video course and didn't get one-on-one help. We've spoken with over 800 people who actually picked up the phone to us over the last 3 years. Just guess for a minute, how many of those 800 people had made any progress whatsoever after 6 months of choosing to go it alone? I can tell you, for me, it is a mind-blowing 0%. 0% of them had made any progress whatsoever after 6 months of choosing to go it alone, which for me is insane. And you might be sat there thinking, Joe, it's only 6 months, chill out, like cut them some slack here. But I see the other side, right? I see that they are losing out on years of their life that they could have been financially free, tens, if not hundreds of thousands of pounds that they could have had in their investment portfolio later on had they got started. And I don't want that for you, because those who did take the leap with me and joined the full program had their roadmap built in under 60 days, and were saving thousands more than they thought they could, becoming debt-free faster than they thought they could, saving 23 grand more in interest than they ever thought they could, and had an investment plan and strategy in place that had them set to retire years, if not a decade more, earlier than they thought they could, with more passive income than they ever thought they would have. So when I see the gap between those who didn't invest in themselves and those who did being that big after just 6 months, you can see how painful it is to hear that they've done nothing, right? Because that gap is growing exponentially now every single day. So I know I'm getting passionate about this, and I don't mean that to come across as like pushiness or anything like that, but like when I've had people who have gone through the process crying in happiness about how this has changed their lives and how much more confidence they have and how happy they are that they can set their kids up for a better future because they now understand what they need to do, you can probably understand why I'm so passionate about this and why it's so hard to hear when people don't do it. So just ask yourself, which side do you want to be on? Really, like the side with those who are progressing and accumulating wealth every single day now with a clear path to financial freedom, or the side with those who are stuck where they've been for years and now will always be, going backwards as you continue to fail to unlock your wealth potential? Because that's the choice. Ultimately, that really is the choice. Now, obviously, we have a lot more people who want to do this than we have places available. We've still got over 600 people on this call, and only 30 will actually be able to access the course and tools and have the opportunity to join the program as well. Now, the reason for this limit goes without saying, really. My team of 3 and I can only take so many calls in a day, and I will also only take on the number of clients in 1 month that I know I can provide a very high level of service to. That's my main goal. That's my main passion, is delivering. Okay. And that's why only those who purchase the video course will get the opportunity that you are being given here. Is to ensure that we are giving our time to those who really want this, right? You're the people we want to give our time to. Now, it may be that you're unable to get a place if you haven't already, but you should be able to see the link to grab your copy in the chat if there are any left. I'm also going to drop it in the WhatsApp group just so everyone has it there. Let me just grab it. Why is it not working? There we go. Right. It's in the chat for the WhatsApp group as well. Ultimately, I just really hope you jump on this and give yourself the best chance, you and your family, the best chance for your financial future. And I am really excited to help as many of you as possible to unlock that potential. So just make sure you get yours locked in ASAP to avoid disappointment. I think we're down to 4 now, so another one has gone. All you need to do, click the link in the chat or in the WhatsApp group, check out, and then select a time and date for your call and fill in the very brief form so we can get a simple understanding of who you are, where you're currently at, and so on. Now, if for any reason you decide not to claim this one-time offer tonight and you decide to try and give this go on your own, knowing the statistical likelihood of that resulting in no progress after 6 months, then it's a sign you're probably not a good fit for this. And if we never speak again, that's totally okay. Ultimately, not everyone is built for this, but I would encourage you to take just some form of action and move forwards, right? Take some form of action, no matter what it is. Just take one step forwards today with your finances and do something before it is too late and you find yourself in a place where you can't actually afford to save to achieve the retirement lifestyle or financial freedom lifestyle that you wanted, and end up having to make concessions on your quality of life, because that is the reality if you do nothing. Hopefully this training has been that stepping stone or guidance or kick up the arse that you needed to encourage you to take some form of action today. Just remember, the longer you wait and put this off, the harder, the more complicated it gets, the more expensive it gets to catch up. That's the bottom line. And if you can't catch up later down the road because you simply don't have the funds available to catch up, that means, again, making concessions on your lifestyle that you want to be able to live. So don't let that happen to you. Right, let's go to the Q&A. I'm going to answer as many of these as I can in the next 5 minutes. Right. Right. Okay.
Let's find a commonly asked question. Trying to find something here. People were using the Q&A as a chat instead of the Q&A, which is great. So I'm trying to filter out for the questions here. So someone has asked, what is my net worth at the moment? I actually posted about this on social media, but this isn't about me, it's about you. As soon as you've shared it in the interest of transparency, my net worth just crossed 800K through following this process for 9 years. So someone has said, Lydia has said, this sounds great, but I have no experience in money management at all. Will I be able to understand all of the content? In the video course, yes. The video course is laid out in a specific sequence of steps so that it makes sense to you, so that you can follow it through step by step and build in your confidence and competence as you are working through it, so that it all starts clicking into place for you. Plus, you got lifetime access. So anything you want to come back to, you can come back to and go over again. And obviously, having one-on-one help just adds to that as well, because any additional questions you've got, anything you get stuck on, you can ask me for help with, which is obviously the game changer and the reason why those people who get that one-on-one help get so much better results so much faster. Okay. Someone has said, how many cash ISA, how many cash ISAs can one have? Basically, you have a overall ISA allowance each year of 20K. You shouldn't technically contribute to more than one stocks and shares ISA in 1 year. You can have more than one cash ISA, but again, there is an overall ISA contribution limit of 20K a year right now. All right. Right, so this is a good question, Tanya. The final number you said, calculation, blah, blah, blah. But, so it's, 12 and then multiply by 25 gives you a rough final number. But what if we have stripped back our outgoings a lot anyway, so our monthly expenses are lower than it will actually be in the future, is what you're saying. So as the life you want to live will cost more in the future. Really, really good point. And this is why you need a specific structure and sequence to follow to work out what your fine number is actually going to be in the future, not just a rough estimate. Fine number is great. Like I say, it gives you a rough estimate of where you need to be, but a lot of people look at that and they just think, crap, that's a really big number. I don't know how to achieve. But in your case, you might be looking at it thinking, well, that's not enough to live the life I actually want in the future. So this is where we then take current lifestyle, your exact circumstances, the things you value, the things also that you're cutting out and reducing down on, and then we adjust that in the tool that you're going to have as part of this, but with my help with the one-on-one coaching, to map out your future circumstances and adjust current for future changes, so that we account for the, the inflation of the lifestyle, to account for the life you want to live, so that we can see what the impact is to your fine number, so that we're building a plan to that fine number, not your current circumstances, because they are going to be different. For some people, it will be more, for some people, it will be less. It really, really depends, and every single set of circumstances are different, which is why we work one-on-one with people to make sure everything is optimized from A to Z. Okay. Good question, though. Thank you, Tanya. So she's also asked, the people you use for your testimonials, at what phase were they at? Varies. People kind of leave the 9-month program at different phases of it, but generally the one-on-one coaching covers phases 1 to 3, and then it's just 4 and 5, which is obviously like the momentum and freedom phase, basically just keeping it going, because we built the system, and what we've done is we build the system for you. First of all, let me go from scratch, right? Go from scratch. We optimize everything. We undo all the damage that's been done as much as we can. We get an optimized system in place. We eliminate the debt. We get emergency funds in place and build out your pillars of personal finance, right? Then we calculate what your actual fine number is from scratch very, very accurately, and then teach you how to keep it up to date over time so that it stays accurate, right? This is with my help. Once you know how to do that, then we've got a number that we need to achieve. We're then going to build an investment plan and strategy for you to use to achieve that number in the shortest, most tax efficient way possible. So that's going to consist of what kind of accounts does it make sense for you to use based on your current circumstances and future circumstances? how much you need to invest into each of those accounts, again, based on what's affordable and available for you, what assets to hold in each of those accounts so that you know what to actually buy within them, and the asset allocation split between each of those assets so you know what to do with your money every single month to get from where you are now to where you want to be, right? So that's an end-to-end lifetime financial roadmap, including financial investment plan and strategy that we coordinate with you. We then show you how to implement that. We build out a portfolio tracking document to keep so that you can keep track of it over time, so that you understand exactly what you need to do. Basically, what we have then done is we've fixed all the problems, got an optimized plan in place, giving you the confidence and the competence you need to go on executing it, because you had months more in the program where it's already been built, taking action on those steps and then coming to me when you've needed help and when you've hit hurdles and when you've made mistakes and when, or to stop you from making mistakes, right? And so on and so forth, so that you're like, okay, right, that's what I need to do. Yeah, it's that button I need to, it's this platform I need to use. This is what I did wrong. This is what I need to do right. After 9 months, you'll get a point where I don't need Joe anymore. I'm done. You never have to pay me or an advisor or a planner ever again, and you're set for life. That's how it works. So to answer your question, the people in those interviews are around phase 3, phase 4. Okay. Right. Let's go to someone else's questions. So Lydia, I have a joint mortgage of £200,000 and a secured loan of £75,000. Is this still possible for me? Yeah. Obviously, ultimately, we've got some debt that we need to get gone first, potentially, depending on the interest rates and things that you're paying. But we'll review every single aspect of your circumstances. And this is why what I was saying earlier, right? If you do this alone with just a video course, or even just completely alone, you've got to get all of your pieces of your existing financial puzzle aligned with this system and strategy in a way that is optimal, right? If you do something wrong or you start working on something that maybe you should be doing either earlier or later, then you're not going to get there as fast as you otherwise would have if I was coming in and showing you exactly what you should be doing based on 9 years of experience and 300 past students, right? And the results that they've achieved. So yes, it's possible for you, but the order in which you need to do things needs to be looked at very, very carefully. That's what I would say. All right. How do you know what is This is a great question from an anonymous attendee. How do you know what is a sound investment? There are always risks. Could you lose all your invested money? So yes, there is risk to investing. Let's not beat around the bush, but risk can be mitigated with the right strategy. It can almost be eliminated entirely, but never really entirely. Ultimately, the main thing you can do to mitigate risk is understand, first of all, diversification and then time horizon. Diversification means splitting your money between multiple things, right? That's what it says on the tin. So that has less chance of dropping all the way to zero, or potentially completely eliminates the risk of it dropping down to zero. And time horizon also mitigates that risk of it dropping down, to below what you put in, right? So when you know that you are investing for a multi-decade time frame, because what we are doing is we are investing to get you from where you are today. So let's say that this anonymous person is 30, right, and they want to retire by 55, and that's we make that possible for them. Maybe we get them there by, say, 50, right? Well, that's 20 years of investing. Now, statistically speaking, if you are investing in global equities for a period of 12 years or more, your odds of a positive return are about as close as to 100% as statistical probabilities allow. And that's looking back over the history of data that we have available in the market at all of those 12-year periods and saying, okay, well, in each of these 12-year windows, how many times from start to finish did you end up with less than you started with? Oh, it was like less than 1%, right? So you're about 99% likely to achieve a positive return. And that's if you're only investing for 12 years. Well, if this person is 30 and they're set to retire at 50, well, that's 20 years. So that's even more likely. And plus, when they get to 50, they're not taking their whole pot out in cash and just like living that up in Ibiza, right? They're drawing 4% each year. And the 4% rule is there to mitigate further risk, right? So because you're only taking a bit out, even if the market then goes to drop 20%, doesn't matter. 4% rule's got that factored in. The 4% rule is there to save you from a terrible first 10 years in the market in your first 10 years of retirement. And it's been proven to work at a 97% success rate. We also then factor in other things such as state pension, inflation, equity and equity release and stuff like that, which actually makes that takes it closer from 97% to 100%. I'm babbling a bit, but this is everything that we cover for you and explain for you in the program, so you understand how to mitigate the risks associated with investing and have confidence and clarity going into it, so that again, basically you just feel confident taking the steps, because you can look at the markets then pragmatically and from an educated standpoint rather than an uneducated emotional standpoint. And when you move from emotional and uneducated to educated and pragmatic, you unlock an awful lot of potential that most people will never get into because they don't understand the market, and that's where the fear comes in. It only ever seems risky when you haven't learned how to do it. Like if you haven't learned how to swim and I tell you to go and jump in the deep end of a swimming pool, that's going to feel like a really risky thing to do. There's a risk you might drown. Same as someone saying, you've got no idea how to invest, just go and start. That's going to feel like a really risky thing to do. There is a real risk you might lose money. But if you are educated and you've learned how to swim, and then I say, go jump in the deep end of the swimming pool, you'll be like, yeah, great, this is fun. Same with investing. If I've taught you how to do it and shown you what the odds are of success, if you use an appropriate strategy, you're going to feel way more confident about doing it and be like, yeah, this is fun. And you start seeing your money grow over time. You understand what to do when the market is down, because there's a whole module on volatility, how to tolerate leverage and manage it. And you're just like, okay, well, this is part of the journey. I know that I need to do X, Y, and Z. And I just carry on trusting the process. And, I've been investing for 9 years. I've seen all the ups and downs you can imagine. I invested through COVID. I invested through the 2022 market dip, basically, where the market was flat for nearly 2 years, right? My average investment return is about 24%, an annualized investment return, right, yearly, including those windows. Because what we know is that the market has returned an average return of 10.9% despite since about 1929, despite World War II, the Great Depression, 2008 financial crisis, dot-com bubble, COVID, Ukraine war, all the wars that happened between World War II and today. All of these instances where the market dropped by anything from 90 to 20%, despite all of those terrible circumstances, the market has still had a positive annualized average return of 10.9%. And to answer your question of could you lose all of your money if you are invested, the answer is basically no, okay? Because if you are in global equities, if you're in a global equity fund, for example, where you're invested across pretty much every single global company on the planet, every single publicly traded company on the planet, the only way your money can go to zero or anything close to it is if there is a complete nuclear war, right? And everyone is gone. Every single company on the planet would have to stop existing at the exact same time for that fund to go from where it is to zero, because it's based on the value of every single one of those companies. And if the value of every single one of those companies is compounding at a rate of 10.9%, when your savings are getting 2-3% on average, right now, granted, you can get 4, 5, 6, 7%, right? But then you're limited as to how much you can put in. The market, you're not really limited to a certain extent, or at least the limits are way higher, right? ISA limit 20K, SIP limit 60K, general investment account unlimited. So when you consider the potential there, and like I say, you can look at it from an educated, pragmatic standpoint, you quickly realize what you've been missing out on. Right, I went in on that one. So I'm going to do one more question. Let's go to the bottom and do one recent. So yeah, anonymous attendee, I'm getting confused with what you get with the course or the academy. Do you get help with what to invest in the course? Now, obviously, the course can only get you so far because it's a one-size-fits-all DIY version, right? It can't therefore help you build a tailored investment plan and strategy because the course doesn't know you as an individual, right? That's where you would have to get the one-on-one coaching. If you want help understanding what, where and how to invest, then that's where you need that. It will still educate you and give you a hell of a lot of an advantage against where you are currently at. It will teach you a lot about investing, how to build and structure a portfolio, different risk levels, so you can then try and determine which one you might want to take and build a portfolio based on that, following the instructions. So to a degree, yes, it will help with that. But in terms of actually being able to understand that and ask questions to me personally to understand, to get confidence about what you need to be doing, that's where it differs from obviously the video course to the one-on-one coaching. But let me quickly just show you what's actually included in the video course. If I just stop sharing here. I've got the course up here so I can share that. Where has Zoom gone? Right, there you are. Right, so I'm going to share. That window. Cool, right. So this is what you get in the course. So let me go through those investing modules again to answer your question. By the way, these are the 7 modules. So you've got the introduction phase, which is obviously the intro video, the check-in, the tools, the financial freedom framework, and a walk through how it works. The phase 2, which is the 3-month look back, understanding your current circumstances. You've got phase 3, which is taking control. So the budgeting bootcamp, how to build your money management system, the debt payoff planner, debt consolidation, ways to stay out of debt. And then you've got tracking your, so basically what to track and why. So everything from income, expenses, debts, equity and assets to net worth. Changing your mindset and your habits. So a reading list of all the books that have had the biggest impact on me and where I learned all of this stuff. Frugality, how to lower your monthly expenses, the golden rules of building wealth, money habits of millionaires, life insurance done right in case of death, asset map, which is an amazing tool to be able to have. If you've ever thought for a second, if you've not, you will be stressed about it now. But if you've not ever thought, if I were to die or my partner were to die, how would they know what to do with the money? How would I know what to do with money if my partner died, or vice versa? This undoes that problem. This solves that problem. This is an in case of death asset map. As cheerful as it is to speak about, it's a game changer. Imagine just having a document where you can say to your partner, or they can say to you, or vice versa, right? You can build this together. If anything were to happen, hopefully it never does, but if it does, this has everything in it. It's password protected. This is a document that contains all our life insurance policies, the passwords, the logins, what the current value is, bank account details, so on and so forth, so that everything's covered. So that if something were to happen and that's going to be a really horrible, stressful situation, at least you don't have to worry about the finances. And I built that because, well, not to get too kind of in depth here, but I lost my mum when I was 11. My dad and my mum didn't have this, and it was a nightmare. Right, for him. And this is one of the reasons why I've always been so committed to having solid finances. So really, really important to have. Yeah, ways of making extra money. Phase 6, then financial freedom and how to get there, calculating your FIRE number, how to calculate your FIRE number, or how I calculated my FIRE number, how the 4% rule works, your monthly and yearly checklist, so you know how to manage your plan going forward. And then we get into investing for wealth. So what is investing? Investment choices and allocations, investing in the power of now, tax efficient investing, index funds, how to avoid becoming another statistic, the true cost of investment fees, the harsh reality of picking stocks, so you know what's actually involved in doing that, how to build and manage your portfolio, tools for tracking, managing and rebalancing your portfolio, and then market volatility, how to tolerate, manage and leverage it. Again, all of the tools and knowledge you need to be equipped with to feel confidence in how to manage your portfolio going forwards. Okay, so right, let's jump back to this and go through. I'm going to do one more question and then we are going to call it. I think we're down to 3. Yeah, there's 3 left now. So if you've not got one, lock that in. Is this a record? So Stephen Powell, you said, you've not answered my earlier question on workplace pension consolidation. Is this a recording? The reason I've not answered that is because I've got 126 questions. So you'll forgive me if I haven't got to all of them. Drop me the question again, because I'm not going to be able to hunt through it. Drop me a question again and I will answer it for you before I go. Okay. So that's my question. Will this course help me when I am still working and I'm 64 years old? Anonymous attendee. Yes, ultimately, if you have an income and the desire for a better financial future, this will help you. Our oldest student is 67 and they are still now going to retire earlier than they otherwise would have. So yes, this will help. Done. Right. Thanks. Stephen, so what if all I could do better was consolidate and reinvest my workplace pensions? Will I still achieve a worthwhile benefit return? ultimately, Stephen, we don't know until we do it, is the bottom line. I'd love to sit here and say, yes, it will work out this way, and this is what you would get out of it, and so on and so forth, but that would be misleading, and that's not how I operate. Ultimately, consolidating is often a good idea, but there's a few pitfalls people often fall into that we need to make sure you don't fall into, so I can help you avoid making those mistakes. We can make sure it's set up in the most optimal way for you based on the goals you have and the way you want it invested, so I can help you with that. So will you achieve a worthwhile benefit return from that? Depending on the current circumstances to what you would have by doing it, I can say most likely yes, based on my experience of doing this, is that you would see a worthwhile benefit from doing it. But obviously I need to know what the current circumstances are in terms of how it's currently set up, how many accounts it's split between, the current fees and so on and so forth that you're paying versus what I can get in place for you, for me to be able to say, this is the measure of the improvement for you to be able to know that, for us to be able to see that it's a worthwhile benefit, right? Like I said, odds are yes. Ultimately though, like I said, when you get on a call with someone from my team, they will talk you through the process. There is also a money back guarantee. So if you didn't get the results to the tune of what you are investing to join the program, then you get your money back anyway, plus another £500 from me. So bear that in mind. There's basically nothing for you to lose, because I know how good this is. I know how powerful this process is and the life-changing results it's got for people. But to you, I appreciate that's just words, and this might be the first time you're hearing me speak. So this is why I put that guarantee in place, basically to say, if this doesn't work for you, if you're the first person I let down who puts in the work and doesn't get the results that we guarantee for people, then I don't deserve your money. You can have it back, and I'll send you on your way with another 500 quid to say sorry for wasting your time. And there is a contract that I sign to state legally that I will do that. Okay, so that's the confidence that we have in this. Right. I appreciate some people haven't had their questions answered. Again, I apologize. There are a lot of questions. And I was never going to be able to get to all of them. As I said at the start, I will try and get to more in the WhatsApp group over the next few days, so make sure you join that if you're not in there already. So someone has said, Maria, where do you live? I live in the UK. That's me saying that. I live in the UK. You said, does this program apply to USA or UK pension or financial system? So it applies to both. Most of our clients are actually in the UK. Obviously, it's about 80% UK. But I have, I'm educated on the US financial system as well, tax system. So we've got a lot of clients, as you've seen from the videos. Both Jade and Travis were from the US. We've got more success stories on our YouTube channel from people in the US, but obviously most of our clients, because I'm in the UK, are from the UK. So that answers your question. Right. Let's do one more. Okay. So yeah, someone has pointed out that my offices are registered in Dubai. That's for tax purposes, because the UK government are a bunch of thieving bastards. So yes, but I actually do also have a UK registered company, Financially Savvy Limited. So you can look that up as well. All right. Fairs. Yeah, exactly. How do you join the WhatsApp group? I'll post the link for the WhatsApp group in the chat. I'll try and get through more of the questions over the next coming days. Again, I'll go through all the most commonly asked ones, but obviously we've got a lot of people who now have come into this who want help, so my priority is on them. So the best thing you can do to get your questions answered is get a video course, because that will probably answer all of them, and get the one-on-one coaching, because then you'll have 9 months of access to me where you can ask me any question 24 hours a day regarding personal finance, investing, and ways of making extra money. But I will post the link in the chat for you to join the WhatsApp group. There you go. Cool. Right. One last question then, and then we'll call it a night. 480 can be paid in installments as an international medical graduate with a monthly income of it. Again, so this person has asked, basically based on their income, if it can be paid in installments, what are their odds? Ultimately, like I said, if you've got an income, so you've got some kind of money to work with, and you've got the desire for a better future, and you're willing to put in the work, then the video course will help you. But you have to show up. You have to do the video course. You have to follow the instructions. Okay. Otherwise, obviously, nothing will happen. So just again, I do not beat around the bush. I'll be very upfront. There we go. Right, that wasn't really a question, so we will do one more. let's answer one that's going to help a lot of people. So I'm just trying to find, there's so many comments in here and not questions. So Liz has said, thank you, Joe. Each person's circumstances are different. How can the pre-written roadmap help individual people to save money, etc.? So the roadmap that you get isn't pre-written. Obviously, there's kind of like a template that we follow, but I then work with each individual on a series of one-on-one calls when you're in the program to build out your tailored financial roadmap, taking you from where you are right now all the way through achieving your short, medium, and long-term goals, tips, tricks, and hacks to implement along the way to get more out of your money, all the way through to how to achieve financial freedom and how you will draw down on your money through retirement in financial freedom, in the financial freedom phase of your life through to the rest of your days. Okay, so we'll then chop and change that template, put all of the tips and tricks in there that are applicable to you, things you can do, obviously remove everything that you can't do, and help you get the most out of your money. So that's how the roadmap helps you save money. It's the roadmap in tandem with the tool where you're tracking everything, okay, and inputting your data. So that's how that works. Kai has asked, is a one and done ETF strategy and a global ETF via SSI, stocks and shares ISA, good enough for financial freedom? Depends how much you're investing. Depends if you know what your FIRE number is. Depends if you've actually measured that on forecasted best case, worst case, most likely, and so on and so forth. So you've got confidence over what you need to do. If you've got a system in place for tracking when you go off track and understanding what levers you can pull to get back on track. If you don't have any of that, then no, that strategy isn't enough. And the strategy I can build for you will be better, to answer your question. Right, I'm going to call it there. We've been going for a long time, so I appreciate you sticking with me. We have got still 3 left, so please go lock one in if you haven't. At least that's what I got my last update from. It might be less than that. I'll try and answer more questions in the next couple of days in the WhatsApp group, so stay tuned there. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. Thank you for sticking with me because I appreciate it was a long one, but I'm really passionate about this and I talk a lot about it, as you can hear. Now, if you've not signed up tonight, go please check out some of the interviews I've done with my clients so you can hear from someone other than me about how life-changing this has been for them. Check out those client wins highlights on my Instagram page. And if you're still not in a position where you feel like you want to do this for any reason, I'd kind of dig deep to understand why that is. Because if it's not me you go to help with, I don't mind you. But if you're not where you want to be yet, that's a sign that you need help getting to where you want to be, because every moment you delay is costing you money, your future self money, and potential in the future. So please, do something. Long session. It was, Mick. Thank you. Please can I pay in installments? Yes, there are payment plans on the website. So if your initial impression of the 408 is that you can't do it, check the payment plans on the website. Check that you understand what it is you're paying for, because there are, the amounts differ depending on how long you spread it over. It kind of scales. So just bear that in mind. Make sure you sign up to the one that you want, and then you can pay in installments that way. All right. Have a great night, guys. Thanks for joining, and I'll catch up with some of you very soon, which I'm very excited about. Good evening.